Hey, everybody.
Why, hello there. Good evening.
How's y'all doing? We really don't use this camera angle too much anymore, but I did want to let you guys know that Chauncey is with us here.
Yeah.
So
He's listening. He will, of course, comment as the mood takes him.
yeah, he's usually not the most vocal of hosts, but you know
That can be a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes
We're wordy fucks, you know what I mean? So sometimes
Right.
a quiet presence is what's needed.
Absolutely. But yeah, we this is welcome to another abandoned HIGHDEOLOGY. We did one of these before. People seem to like it, so
These are fun.
we're doing it again.
I like it because it breaks up the abandoned hope.
Right, so you don't have to just totally drift into that form of despair. You can also drift into the fucking chat-induced despair, which is a very different despair. So it's almost like, you get to play hopscotch, a little bit of this despair, a little bit of that despair,
It's different types of despair.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a different flavor of despair during the HIGHDEOLOGYs. It's definitely despair.
Thanks for the 10 minutes of nothing before the stream, TJ. I really appreciate it. Oh, my God, you poor baby, dude. You poor little baby. You poor
Jeez.
thing. Oh, man. Gee shucks, man.
Yeah, we were a couple of minutes beyond our start time of 8 Central, too, so I'm sure the chat was filled with late.
Scam. Error. TJ's taking a shit. Paul's
love
jerking off. Whatever the fuck, man. It's 8:07. We're reasonably on time. Quit your crying. Inane moronic comment.
Yeah. Yep.
Did he actually type that, or is that just my mind?
That's just your mind
filtering it, into,
editing.
just letting me know. That would be nice, if it just summarized what the comment was.
We're playing Hope Scotch.
I made Paul
like
sigh. My life is. Oh, that's really hard to do, man.
That just happens, bro. You
Dude,
got to spend 10 minutes around me.
Paul. I mean, Paul has a trademark sigh. Like half the time. Like, when Paul comes to work on any given day, I'm guaranteed to hear the Paul sigh within minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Within minutes.
It happens all the time.
Because, I mean, it's just like, if Paul had a catchphrase, it'd be...
There's some feels good about it, though.
Yeah,
it's like I get to make other people kind of peripherally aware of how I feel.
Yeah.
In a way that's socially acceptable. I guess that's why I do it. But it gets me a lot of are you okay?
You can always. It's like the sound that people make if you're sitting watching a movie with someone, especially if you become hyper aware of it, especially if you really want them to like the movie, and then you're sitting there and then you hear them go, like, oh shit, they don't like the movie.
Yeah, I can't control those during movies.
It's
some
not
movies
resonating.
Some movies just suck the size right out of me.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know if you're going, Paul. I know you got a ticket if you want to go, but
Yeah,
I know
I'm
we're
going
to fucking Star Wars
on the 20th, right?
I know some leaks on that, by the way.
Oh, well,
But
since I don't care, you can tell me.
I don't know if the chat wants to know.
Oh, yeah.
Shit,
Because then they're just going to be crying spoiler.
Spoiled it. Yeah. I think some of the Palpatine stuff actually sounds kind of cool, but it kind of depends on how they...
It better. That's the thing.
It depends on how they pull it off, honestly.
Like, for them to bring him back is already lame, so they better use him well at the very least.
Yeah, but I kind of like it because it does mean if the contention is... I mean, at that point you have to say Palpatine's the central character of the entire Star Wars saga, right? Because it means that everything from the beginning of Episode 1 to the end of Episode 9 was all him.
It's all his machinations.
Right.
Yeah.
And that makes him the central character of fucking Star Wars, doesn't it?
I guess so.
He's the only character that's consistently been pulling the strings the whole fucking time.
I mean, I'm fine with that. I always liked Palpatine as a character.
Did you see the most recent trailer with Palpatine in it?
I watched the one that we watched together a couple weeks ago.
Well, they put out pretty much, I think it's the best trailer they put out for the movie so far, but of course that's not exactly saying much. But yeah, we can take a quick look at that.
Let's take a look at it.
Let's go ahead and go to this view, and we can decide what we think of this. I mean, I guess I already kind of tipped my hand on it, but. So it's like an upside down pyramid going on.
last. My boy.
Absolutely.
I have been every voice you have ever heard inside your head.
See, okay. I kind of get disappointed when they switch from that beginning sort of atmospheric dark thing to all the generic action shots. But the generic action shots do at least look cool.
Let me tell you what they did right in this one that they haven't done in the other ones.
Set a mood.
Well, that and dude, that the soundtrack kind of that it switches to there. It's a combination of the Duel of the Fates, the dun 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 dun. So they're blending the old and the new, you know what I mean? I like that. That gave me a little goosebumpies. I got some goosebumps from that.
Yeah.
I also got goosebumps during the Palpatine scene because he sounds amazing.
I love the fucking like strong bass they put to his fucking voice there, and how he like.
Well, they're definitely pitch shifting him a little bit.
How he seamlessly kind of goes from Palpatine to, or I'm sorry, he goes from Palpatine to Snoke, to Vader to, you know, kind of just like establishing once and for all, like I was always the fucking puppet master behind all this shit.
Definitely the best trailer that the most promising trailer that they've released so far.
I mean, I can say this, I at least want to see more of that fucking scene and that atmosphere and this upside down pyramid and this fucking dark shadowy realm that they've fucking created.
I like it.
So
I like that trailer. That's the first trailer for this movie that I've liked, for sure.
Oh my god, yeah. And then I mean, it switches to the generic action stuff, and I mean, whatever. That's just typical trailer fodder. But
I mean, I'm fine with that as long as the shit that it's wrapped in is, you know, delicious.
I mean, they definitely did a better job than they have in the past with that. Let's go ahead and do our Christmas thing, and then we'll chat with the crowd here. But
our Christmas thing?
Yeah.
Oh God.
So this video is like 3 years old, and I honestly think we might have responded to it before somewhere. I don't know, maybe on DP, or maybe we've looked at it on DFF even, but or maybe I'm just misremembering. I don't have any specific memory, but
we've listened to so much of PragerU's drivel and bullshit over the years that it all blends together now. It's hard to tell.
Absolutely.
But whatever. It'll be new to me at least, because as soon as I stop watching PragerU, I forget they exist until the next time I'm served up another piece of their shit.
Well, the reason I was sitting there, I was actually sitting on the fucking toilet in my bedroom, and I heard Chelsea. No, it wasn't the bedroom. It was the other bathroom. But it doesn't matter where I was. But you know, I heard Chelsea watching a video in the next room, and I heard Dennis Prager's voice start saying the stupidest shit. And I was like, what am I hearing here? And she's like, well, this is the ad before the JonTron video. And I'm like, what? And they basically, this video is being played on YouTube right now as an ad before other content. And that's why I decided, let's take a look at it. And it's about Christmas, and it is Christmas time. So let's take a look.
The change from wishing fellow Americans Merry Christmas to wishing them Happy Holidays is a very significant development.
No, it isn't.
So, I mean, like, right out the gate, the first contention of this video.
No, it's actually a very, very tiny little cultural change that, in my world, is barely worth noting.
You know, I mean, and by the way, not even a real event.
No.
Didn't even really change. It used to be, before you guys decided to make up this war on Christmas, it used to be perfectly acceptable for anyone to say either one of those things.
People said Happy Holidays back when I was a kid, way before this war on Christmas shit.
Right. You could
really
say Merry
kicked in.
Christmas. You could say Happy Holidays.
And people did.
No one gave a shit.
And guess what? I do. I say Merry Christmas all the time. I say Happy Holidays. I use them interchangeably, as does most of the fucking populace of this country. So no, Dennis.
But now
It's not a significant event.
like now because of these crybabies on the right, like my wife, she's dog groomer for a living. She was like, oh, should I write Happy Holidays on the dog's report card or should I write Merry Christmas on the dog's report card? It's like she's like, I don't know. It's like a landmine field now.
Yeah.
Of like, oh shit, I don't want to offend. Oh my god. This used to be just totally inoffensive. No one
Right.
cared. Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas. What the fuck does it matter? Well, let's find out.
Proponents of Happy Holidays argue it's no big deal. Proponents of Merry Christmas are making a mountain out of a molehill.
What about proponents of both, like us?
What about proponents of who gives a shit?
Yeah, put me right in the. I'm inside that little building back there drinking a beer.
I'm sorry, / enlightened centrism.
Oh, I'm just sorry. On this fucking issue, I am a fucking centrist.
Me too.
I don't give a fuck. I've never been offended because I guess some people's contention are like if you say Merry Christmas, but you're talking to a Buddhist or an atheist or a Jew or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? I'm an atheist. I've never been offended by somebody telling me Merry Christmas.
I mean, you have to be a fucking moron to get offended by it.
In fact, I don't even get offended when religious people are even more overtly religious than that, like God bless you and shit. That
Right.
doesn't.
I mean, like, you hear it around here all the time. Like,
Oh, yeah.
have a blessed day.
Yeah.
I've never once been like, fucking piece of shit, trying to tell me to have a blessed day. Fuck him. I've even said, like, yeah, you too.
Well, yeah.
I would never say it, personally. I'd never be like, have a blessed day, because fuck that.
It's just a totally interchangeable way of ending a social transaction.
It's just, I mean, this is just empty chatter. The person saying happy holidays 9 times out of 10 does not give a fuck if you have happy holidays or not. It's just a social nicety. It's like, how you doing?
Right.
Fine. It's just small talk. It's basically fucking meaningless.
But the Happy Holidays advocates want it both ways. They dismiss opponents as hysterical, but at the same time, in addition to replacing Merry Christmas with Happy Holidays, they have relentlessly pushed to replace Christmas vacation with winter vacation.
Oh, God. I didn't realize. Hold up now. I didn't realize the severity
Yeah.
of the fucking problem,
This
man.
just became real. Okay,
wow,
Prager.
shit just got real. All right. What does it
It
matter?
doesn't matter.
What does it matter?
It doesn't matter.
What does it matter?
It 100% doesn't matter.
It was Christmas canceled? Do you no longer are you longer able to celebrate the holiday known as Christmas?
Yeah, anybody standing in your way on your way to Walmart or Target or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean?
Like, get out.
You can't come and do the fucking capitalist Christmas shopping thing. It's like, no, it's as strong as it ever was.
And Christmas party with holiday party. So
I mean, how many people? I mean,
I've
okay,
heard
so
both.
Yeah,
when
once
when I
again-
worked in that semi-corporate environment, I heard Christmas party, I heard holidays celebration. They do that at schools too. They'll call it a holiday party or a Christmas party interchangeably. It's a totally pointless distinction to 90% of people. And then you got this 10% on either side that are at each other over something that nobody fucking cares about.
Oh, man.
So then, which is it? Is all this elimination of the word Christmas important or not?
No.
The
it's
answer is
not.
obvious.
So first of all, it's not even happening.
Yeah,
Like
there's been no elimination.
I've never gone. I mean, like, have you met a single person that's like, you mentioned Christmas and like, what's
No.
that? Don't you mean holiday? Generic winter holiday?
Like I said,
time?
90% of us are we're locked into the same fucking cultural tradition of calling it Christmas time. And it's not even happening.
Turn on the fucking radio. You know, I mean, like, people are not like, we wish you a merry holiday season. We wish, I mean, like,
Nope.
there's still plenty of mentions of Christmas all over the fucking place. You still turn on the TV and see, like, Christmas sale at such and such. It's still Christmas dinner. It's still Merry Christmas, everyone. All the fucking Christmas shit is still in place. Just because in a few instances people are alternating a different word. By the way, it's because there's multiple holidays right next to each other. Christmas and New Year's are like this far apart.
And Hanukkah.
Yeah, Hanukkah's there.
So you can throw,
Like, ostensibly, there's some Kwanzaa shit that I guess maybe somebody somewhere celebrates. I don't know.
I think all you have to do to celebrate Kwanzaa is just say you're celebrating Kwanzaa.
Maybe one year I will. Maybe this like Merry fucking Kwanzaa, bitch.
Yeah.
Obvious, it's very important. That's why so much effort is devoted to substituting other words for Christmas.
There's no effort.
What effort?
There's no effort.
All right, look, watch
There's
this.
literally no effort.
Watch this. Hey, Paul.
Hey.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, happy holidays, man.
Like, where was the Herculean effort there? What was the you act like, I mean, there's not like a giant statue of the word Christmas that we fucking spent billions of dollars to transform into the word holidays.
Nope.
And these efforts have been extraordinarily successful. In place of the universal Merry Christmas of my youth, in recent decades I have been wished happy holidays by every waiter and waitress in every restaurant I have dined, by everyone who welcomes
You must
me
not
at any...
dine a whole lot down here in the South.
I can tell you that much.
Because
Not
I'll
only
tell
that,
you what,
like,
dude.
this is a guy who's being literally told by somebody happy holidays, which is a nice thing to say.
Right. And
And
he's
he's like,
pissed about
"Ugh."
it. He's butthurt about it.
Okay, so let's just see something. Like, is there a fucking Christmas song called Happy Holidays? It's like,
Happy
Holidays.
Holidays.
Isn't
Yeah.
that an old song? Like, is that song from like...
No, that's like a old like Bing Crosby era
Right.
shit.
So obviously this is not like, oh my God, this Happy Holidays, that wasn't even a thing in my youth. Yes, it was. You're such a fucking liar.
any business, by my flight attendants and pilots, and by just about everyone else. When I respond, thank you, Merry Christmas, I often sense that I've actually created some tension.
You
Any
haven't.
of those I wish Merry
No.
Christmas.
You're having a wrong sense about the fucking social situation, Dennis. Nobody cares.
Oh my God.
Literally nobody has ever gasped and clawed at their fucking face when you told them Merry Christmas. It's never happened to you.
What? I'm trying to figure out when. Okay, the song "Happy Holidays." Okay, so there was an album by Joe Stafford called "Happy Holidays" in 1955. There was the song "Happy Holiday," 1942. There was "Happy Holiday," a 1954 musical version of the play "The Ghost Train." So I mean, like, this is
right.
there was another one called "Happy Holidays to You," a 1979 album by The Whispers.
Right. So the 40s and 50s were clearly in Dennis Prager's quote unquote childhood at that point.
Yeah,
And there's holidays everywhere.
"Happy Holidays" is a fucking common goddamn phrase, and it has been for decades. You guys decided to make something up about there being this war on Christmas, or this effort to fucking fuck over Christmas.
I will tell you one place that it has changed. When I was a kid, there would be like big shopping places all had Merry Christmas on them. And now the bigger shopping chains and stuff have, like, I very rarely do I see Walmart with big Merry Christmas things. You know what I mean? That used to be way more common when I was a kid. But what do you want me to do about that? I'm not the corporate guy that made that decision.
So there's like I'm looking at some corporations here to see what they're doing. It's kind of an older article, but
Yeah, a lot of them ditched it altogether and they just do like that stylized ho 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 or whatever.
yeah, they like just like, we don't even want to be part of this fucking
Yeah,
bullshit.
Be jolly. You know what I mean? I see a lot of like,
Don't even involve us in this.
so.
Christmas are probably relieved to hear someone who feels free to utter the C word, but all the sensitivity training they've had to undergo creates cognitive dissonance. The opponents of Merry Christmas
Wow.
and other uses of the
To have fucking Dennis Prager up here talking about a fucking non-existent war that's going on, talk about cognitive dissonance in another group of people is really, truly the height of fucking irony. Oh my God, dude. Anybody that believes that Christmas is under attack is laboring under a number of problems. One of them very fucking obviously being cognitive dissonance.
Get your holiday tree.
The word Christmas know exactly what they're doing. They're disingenuous when they dismiss defenders of Merry Christmas as fabricating some, quote, war on Christmas.
That's exactly what you're doing.
Christmas. Or more precisely,
of course.
a war on the religious nature of America. The left in America, like the left in Europe.
You're really going to try and make the contention that Christmas is an overall religious event in most people's lives now, Dennis?
It is not.
You might be suffering from a little bit more of that cognitive dissonance because through my entire fucking childhood, it's been about buying people shit.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's about gifts and consumerism, and to a lesser extent, I mean, maybe not. I don't know. I guess it depends on which.
I mean, there's an element
there's
of
like
getting
family togetherness
right. But that's every
family
holiday.
And friends and drinking and whatever the fuck else. But yeah, I mean, for some people, there's a religious aspect to it, but for a lot of people, there isn't. Like, I still celebrate Christmas, but I don't even believe in Christ. I don't believe that he died for my sins. I don't believe in the Christian faith.
You have a Christmas tree.
Right. I have a Christmas tree in my fucking living room. We got some Christmas decorations outside. We got some nice Christmas lights. Got a little inflatable dog with a Santa hat. You know, so I'm observing the fucking holiday. I'm fucking getting down with it to some extent. But there's nothing religious about it to me. It's just a fucking tradition that I've grown up in. And yeah, I mean, there was like some shit about, oh, well, it's the Jesus and the nativity and all this and that. And I've seen it, and I understand it, and I understand that for some people it has that meaning as well, but for me it doesn't.
I think for most of the people that have a religious kind of meaning surrounding Christmas, it's both. Like,
Right.
yeah, they observe it as Christ's birthday, but they also participate in the giant orgy of conspicuous consumption.
Right, and we all know that, of course, this, started as a pagan holiday and was stolen by the Christians, and there have been plenty of videos about out there handling that. Like, people have done this Christmas thing before Christianity was even a fucking thought in someone's head. So,
well, yeah, it used to be the winter solstice.
Right.
So it was like a fucking big pagan celebration of the end of the, it's now winter is starting to go away and you're heading back into spring. You know what I mean?
well, it's actually winter's just starting.
I thought winter. No. I thought that was winter's peak. The solstice is the peak of winter, right?
Maybe.
That's how I understand it, but I might be wrong.
I don't know exactly, but I mean, the point is that it's a fucking pagan thing, and it was that before it was ever a Christian thing. And I understand that for some people today it is a Christian thing, but it's like that's not really what Christmas is at this point in our fucking culture. All right, I mean, for the majority of people, Christmas is about consumerism, which every American holiday is about, and family togetherness, which pretty much every American holiday is about.
So the solstice is the day with the shortest period of daylight and the longest night of the year when the sun is at its lowest daily maximum elevation in the sky. So it's like the turning point of winter.
Right.
It's like when winter is now officially slowly going away and giving way to spring.
Right. Well, and I mean, like it's like a celebration because I mean, like winter is miserable. Especially if you're living in ancient times before heaters and things of that nature.
And heavily reliant on crops that don't grow in frozen ground.
Right. So this was something for people to look forward to. This is a big celebration.
It was something for people to literally survive and to celebrate their surviving of it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, there's a fucking reason behind this, and it's not Jesus. In fact, if Jesus existed at all, he was probably born during the summer, but whatever. Let's listen to some more of this horse shit.
Wants to create a thoroughly secular society. Not a secular government, which is a desirable goal and which in any event has always been the case in America, but a secular society. Most people do not realize that the left believes in secularism as fervently as religious Jews and Christians believe in the Bible. That's why...
Good.
I mean, yeah, why would that be a problem?
Yeah, I mean, like, if you're a Christian, you try to make the society more Christian, right? So I don't see why, if you're a secularist, you shouldn't try to make society more secular. And by the way, if there's anything we're doing to try to make society more secular, I don't think the war on Christmas is a fucking part of that strategy. I really don't.
I don't buy the line that we have a secular government right now either.
No, I mean, well, whenever, I mean, no.
Like faith-based initiatives and constant fucking invocation of Christian fucking mythology in all of our fucking government
all
doing.
kinds of politicians ending speeches with "God bless America."
Oh, absolutely.
God's on the money.
There's
God's
still
God's
a
over
hard
the fucking highest court in the land. You know,
there's still a hard religious litmus test on any fucking high office in this country. Like it's an implied litmus test. It may not be in writing somewhere, but just look at the like relative low amount of people that identify as fucking non-religious. There's more now than there've ever been. And there's still a tiny fraction of people in our government.
Now, in our generation, it's a lot higher. I think like 38% of people
Sure.
non-religious, but we're just one segment of society. Overall, Christianity still is about 70%, 75%.
I'm talking about in government, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, when you have a country that's 75% Christian, it's still reflected in the fucking government because those people still want their religious bullshit to be involved in the fucking government, even though it should be a secular government. But I mean, having a more secular society is a step towards having a more secular government. So, but I don't understand why that's a problem. But like, there's plenty of things we could argue about in terms of secularizing society. But Merry Christmas is not one of those things.
No,
because I don't even associate Christmas with your religion, really. I know you do, but I don't.
But whether you associate it religiously is a personal issue. Like you should be worried about you keeping Christmas what you believe Christmas to be.
Like when you say happy holidays, one of those holidays that we're wishing you a happy is Christmas, right? One of those is Christmas. Christmas is still in the mix.
Yeah, it's still a holiday. Last time I checked.
Like, no, I haven't heard an atheist, maybe I have actually, try to change the name of Christmas to like Atheistmas or something.
Happy holidays excluding Christmas.
Happy non-Christmas holiday.
Happy every other holiday but Christmas.
The holiday that I hate.
Said no one ever.
Why Merry Christmas bothers secular activists.
Okay,
it doesn't.
Basically, he lies for 5 minutes and 30
Right.
seconds. Anyway, so let's go on to another related story before we talk to the chat for a minute.
Sure.
So this is some Trump people, and I'm probably going to have to reload this.
Eric Trump and
his wife, I guess.
Yeah.
So let's take a look. This is
about what's going on with impeachment and the FISA and all that. But will you guys be able to just forget about all of it and really enjoy the fact that you really are part of the first family? You are the first family. I mean, you've done wonderful things for this country. We now don't have the political correctness that we used to. I mean, people are actually saying Merry Christmas.
You can say Merry Christmas again.
Yes,
Isn't that
yes.
so nice, Janine?
my
yeah,
God.
remember those
I love
years you
Christmas
couldn't.
trees. I love
Just
Santa
like
over
the
here.
fake war that it is, there are fake battles and fake winners. So now you can say Merry Christmas again.
Finally,
This is such bullshit.
remember? Because there was that period of time, Paul, where you even thought Merry Christmas, and it felt like the politically correct police were busting down your door. But
They just came
now,
Yeah, they just came out of nowhere to fucking kick my door down and correct me forcefully for saying Merry Christmas. I hate this Janine Pirro chick too.
Happy Saturday.
I don't know why, but I just look at her and I associate her with like really, really cheap boxed wine.
You're probably right.
I get the feeling that she
I
goes
could totally
home,
see her drunk at a party
Yeah,
or
on
in her
box
house
wine.
on the box wine. Doesn't matter how much money she makes, she's still drinking.
She
that
still drinks
box
the box wine. Yep.
Man. And they gotta go along. And by the way, touting that as a fucking accomplishment. Like, what exactly did Eric Trump do to make that happen?
Well, they're just basking in the glow of Trump. Donald is the one that made it okay to say Merry Christmas again.
We're gonna say Merry Christmas again.
Yeah, so they pin the medal on his chest, but that's the general's son there, going, oh yeah, we won that battle. That non-existent battle that only happened in our stupid, fevered imaginations.
The Trump who saved Christmas.
Like, what the fuck?
I mean, how do you feel that your father has done all of that, Eric?
It's incredible.
All that was one thing that he didn't even do.
Yeah,
That was you listed all the things he's done, such as this one completely bogus accomplishment that didn't happen.
Never happened.
There was never a time you couldn't say Merry Christmas. Fuck you. You're such a lying cunt.
It is nice to say Merry Christmas again, and it is
Again.
a beautiful thing to celebrate all the holidays with beautiful little...
What? Holidays? I don't think so. Nope.
Damn.
Bro.
Thought he was a true believer.
Nah, dog. Nah. That ain't
Look
Trump's
at that
son.
kid. That kid looks like he wants to fucking run.
The kid's like, I was born into a terrible
He's
family.
staring right at my soul. He's like, save me from this, please.
Little kids like this, I mean, this is what America's all about, and this is what the American dream's all about. And
Yeah,
this
agree,
is why
kid.
we have an incredible country, because we can sit there with the Santa Claus and with beautiful trees and eat ice cream and open presents. And
Is ice cream like a Christmas thing?
Eat ice cream and open presents.
I don't know.
Kind of weird.
I never had ice cream on Christmas morning.
I mean, there might have been ice cream involved in the Christmas dinner sometimes, maybe, but it was never like, oh, I'm looking forward to the ice
and now
cream.
for that traditional scoop of Christmas ice cream.
That's weird.
love one another, and and see little ones grow, and it's the best of this nation, and I'm proud of him for reinvigorating.
This guy wants to be president himself, obviously.
Oh, I think all of them do.
Yeah.
I think I saw a post somewhere from some MAGA head that was like, I think it was like Donald Trump, through the next 4 years, and then the next 8 years were Trump Jr., and then the next 8 years were Ivanka, and then the next 8 years was Eric. You know what I mean? The whole Trump dynasty, dude. And we can't say it couldn't happen because we had the Bush dynasty.
Yeah, the Trump dynasty could fucking put the Bush dynasty to shame.
So much of it.
Wow, man. Really makes you
So
think.
we think we're getting rid of the Trumps
We're not.
pretty soon. But
Nope. Even if
we're probably just looking at the front edge of a gigantic, long, stupid, thick-skulled Trump dynasty, dude. It's awesome.
Oh, it's gonna be sick, dude. I love it. I mean, how can you not? He's the greatest. So let's see what the chat's thinking. If they're thinking anything.
The Trump monarchy shall rule for a millennium, yes.
Didn't Trump had a nickname known as Zion Dawn? So shouldn't he celebrating happy holidays?
Zion Dawn?
I don't know.
Was he a big Jew proponent back in the day? Is that what they're going for?
I guess. Why don't these Trump fucks just say they want a monarchy?
Some of them do.
I mean, yeah, they call him, like, a lot of people have him in, like, they call him, like, the God Emperor and shit, so.
Not only that, but Trump himself has said multiple times, like, we may just have to, get another fucking 8 years after this 8 years, you know what I mean? Like, it's just constantly being said around him, so they do.
TJ and Paul, how have you grown and changed from the beginning of the decade to now? Well, I've definitely grown. Like,
That way.
yeah, I've definitely grown outwards.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've always been fat. I was fat a decade ago, so I can definitely say that hasn't changed.
Just a little bit angrier and more bitter with each passing year, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really hard for me to, like, think about the last decade because I'm still in, you know what I mean? It's just
Yeah,
hard
you're
for me
still
to.
in the thick of it.
When did it start? So it started in 2010.
I guess. Yeah. I guess we're approaching that 2020 point, so it's like, now we have to, like, take stock of the fucking last 10 years, apparently.
I mean, my life is a totally different thing than it was 10 years ago, for sure.
Mine's really not that much different, but...
Yeah.
TJ, are you hoping Trump wins the second term so you have a better chance of winning your bet with Scotty? Well, I lose if he wins the second term.
Yeah. TJ's taking the Trump won't get reacted, and Scotty's taking.
Well, no, I said he would. I said he wouldn't finish his term, so I have to hope he.
Oh, that's right.
And he's not going to get impeached. So my only hope at this point is a heart attack.
Which, I mean, it could happen.
Yeah, it's like I think it's a bet. I think I have a better shot of winning via heart attack than I do via impeachment. So, still got 16 days left of this decade. That's right.
Also, one of the most popular movies that plays on TV during Christmas is called A Christmas Story. It's my favorite Christmas movie.
It's probably the best Christmas movie.
I love A Christmas Story. It's great. For
Did
sure.
you ever see that terrible live fucking
Yes.
Christmas story they did with, like, Matthew Broderick and shit?
Yes. It's terrible.
Matthew Broderick is not an actor, dude.
I don't know. I liked Matthew Broderick. Matthew Broderick, I think, is a theater actor.
Maybe. He didn't do. I mean, like that. You would think a live performance would be his fucking time to shine then, and he was.
Maybe he's
awful.
lost it. I saw Matthew Broderick on Broadway in How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, and he was fucking great.
Well,
So he at least at one point was.
maybe he just has to hit his stride, or maybe he was just real nervous. I don't know, but it was really, really bad. His reads on shit were just fucking awful. I don't know. That whole special was awful. Trump will eat himself to death from Mexican food and Diet Coke. Here's hoping, man.
Could happen.
Y'all should watch the sequel someday as a commentary. It's as terrible as you think.
I've seen it.
The sequel to Christmas Story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There
is
another Christmas Story. Or
isn't
whatever.
isn't one of the Home Alone burglars in that as the dad or something?
I think so.
Like Daniel Stern, I think his name is.
I think you're thinking of the right thing. The Grinch that stole Paul's beard. He better bring a fucking army, because I'm not letting no Grinch fucking just come in the night and take my beard. He's gonna have to fight me for this beard.
Cool. There is a growing group of open Catholic monarchists led by Nick Fuentes. They were promoted by Milo just a couple of days ago. Red hot Milo.
Yeah, good old poor Milo, dude. Milo's having problems. The last time I heard anything about him,
that was a while ago.
Yeah,
I assume that things haven't gotten much better. I don't know about the Catholic monarchists. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's going to be the next iteration of American politics. We all become Catholic monarchists. I don't know. I'll be in fucking Brazil or wherever the fuck I need to be. It's a Wonderful Life is the best Christmas movie. No.
Wrong.
No, I mean, it's all right.
Wrong.
I mean, I just feel like, ever since I talked to Galen about that movie, I've never been able to like that movie again. He pretty much convinced me to hate that movie. Because he just pointed out to me, like, this whole town is just full of pieces of shit, and this movie just proves it. Like, he should have, like, he should have burned this town to the ground a long time ago. Because it's like, if he's that important, it's just like everyone just, like, is using him up, and then the moral of the story is, keep using him.
Well, I think the point was that all of those people were interdependent upon one another.
Maybe.
And the removal of any one of them would have caused a chain of negative events.
Well, if that's the case, then it's just flat out not true.
It's a movie about community, TJ, and the value of common human experience.
Well, I like A Christmas Story better. It's about the value of wanting a pistol that you probably shouldn't have.
I got to be honest with
you, shouldn't have.
For my money, I prefer White. If you're talking about the old Christmas movies, I like White Christmas better than fucking
Which one
It's
is
a
that?
Wonderful Life. It's the one with like Bing in it, and there's two sisters.
I don't think I've seen that actually.
It's really good. Yeah, there's two like twin sisters, and there's two guys that are like ex fucking soldiers that create like a song and dance act when they get out of the army and blah 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 blah.
The original Grinch is the best Christmas movie. It's not even really a movie though. It was just a TV special, so it's only like 25, 30 minutes long. But I don't know, it works. I mean, it's a good TV special.
Fucking Jay Darky doesn't like Christmas movies. Get out of here, Jay Darky. Get out of here. Everybody loves Christmas movies.
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I think it's a pretty legit one.
It's good.
Silent Night, Deadly Night. Man, that movie. Naughty. Yeah. That movie doesn't really hold up. When I watched it as a kid, I thought it was pretty cool. But watching it as an adult, as I did maybe a year or two back,
yeah,
I gotta say, not that great a movie.
I like that Naughty or Nice episode of Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah,
with the fucking psycho Santa.
Die Hard, yeah. I mean,
yeah, Die Hard's a Christmas.
Die Hard had to be. Yeah, there was that big fight for years about whether or not it's a Christmas movie, and it seems like the people who say it is have won finally, and I agree with them. Rudolph is a trippy ass Christmas special.
I love Yukon Cornelius.
Silver and gold.
He's my favorite, dude. I love the idea that there's just like some crazy dentist wandering around the Yukon looking for fucking.
Well, the elf is the dentist, dude.
Oh yeah. Well, what was he then?
Just a crazy old prospector looking for silver.
Oh, that's
and gold.
right. He was mining. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
He was like, he had a pickaxe and he was like silver and gold, and then at some point,
doesn't he help pull the fucking tooth out of the fucking bumble though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, that's why I thought he was a dentist.
I think he helps out with that. Yeah. And then the island of misfit toys and shit.
I use that reference a lot.
You do?
Yeah, the idea of...
Whenever someone's like a broken person, you're like, go back to the Isle of Misfit Toys.
Yep.
Yukon Cornelius is badass. And that song he sings about silver and gold is cool. It's the only time in a Christmas movie I've just seen them... I think it really gets to more of like what Christmas is actually about, honestly. Because he just it's like all about silver and gold. And it's not about like... but family is better or something. It's just like, it's straight up like silver and gold are desirable. precious metals are cool. You know?
Yeah.
Paul should dress up as Yukon every year for Xmas and give presents to people. Yukon doesn't give presents. He mines for gold.
Yeah.
So
Just
Paul
dig
should-
holes in their
Paul
lawn.
should, go to their lawn, dig up their lawn with a pickaxe.
Silver and gold, silver and... They're like, what are you doing?
Get the fuck out of here! All I Want for Christmas Is My Two Front Teeth is a godly song. You know what? I heard the fucking worst version of that the other day. Was it that one I heard?
It's like every second grade class sings it at the Christmas recital.
Well, I think it was that one, and it was a guy, like you're supposed to sing it with like a lift kind of thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, you got to certain words you have to lisp.
Right, and it's better when it's sung by a kid because that's like kind of the point. But there was like a dude on the radio singing it like, all I want for Christmas is my two front teeth, my two front teeth. I'm like, this is just misses the point of the fucking song. It made me think of that story you told me about when you were in theater in high school, and they commissioned the tenor or whatever.
It was like the lead bass guy.
Right, from the choir
From
at the
the
school
choir.
to voice Audrey too, which seems on the surface to be a really good idea. But apparently he just couldn't put that stank on the fucking, song. So you ended up with this like,
Feed me, Seymour. Feed me all night long. That's right, boy. You can do it. And it was like,
you're not, you ain't hitting it.
you can't. You got to put the stank on it, man. You got to feel it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it was not good. And that was like we heard that, me and Chelsea were at a place and we heard that version of Two Front Teeth, and she's just like, this is the stupidest fucking version of this song I've ever heard, and really pointed out to me like how fucking much they botched it.
It is a shitty song though. Just in general, it's
Yeah,
a shit song.
it doesn't really work. I always thought that song, there was like the song, I didn't even hear it until I was an adult, but apparently it's been around for a long, long time, where it's like, I want a hippopotamus for Christmas.
Oh God, no.
Every time I hear that song, I always imagine that kid getting eaten by the hippo. Because there's a part where they say, well, hippo is a vegetarian. I'm like, yeah, but he'll still eat your ass, because
Yeah.
he's going to eat you, but he's going to rip you
Stomp
apart.
you and drown you in the fucking muck.
Just because he doesn't want to eat you doesn't mean he likes you. No. He's going to fucking eat you alive. It's going to be awesome. Not eat you. He's going to chew you up, spit you out because you're meat. He doesn't want it.
Paul should dress as Yukon and split people's skulls with a pickaxe while singing Silver and Gold.
You went a little far with it, but sure.
That'd be a good reboot.
Yeah, the edgy version.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's ask. It's time to go to another important question here. And that is, of course, should we ban clapping? What's that, Paul?
What?
Should we ban clapping, Paul?
Is this just because the news no longer gets applause for anything, so now they just want to do away with it? What is going on here?
The news panel doesn't seem too into this, but there is a girl on here that's going to argue for it.
Okay.
Let's take the serious side of this first. What is upsetting, genuinely,
There's a serious side to this? Is there?
We're about to hear it, I guess.
about clapping?
So it's actually not just for people with anxiety, it's also people who use hearing aids, clapping.
I think I might have this on like double speed or something. I might slow it down a little. Some people can't handle it. I'll just do normal speed for this.
It can be disruptive to that. People who have sensory processing issues, it can be very distressing and overwhelming to have those loud, sudden noises.
But it is part of our culture, isn't it, to clap? If you go to the theatre or you go to a lecture or you
It's
go
also
to a
part of our
performance-
culture to get the clap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so basically she's saying that there's people out there who have
Well, I can vouch
know.
for this. My stepdad just started wearing hearing aids, and he has a real hard time going to concerts anymore because of the loud yelling and clapping and shit
right.
fucks with his hearing aids, and he has to take them out, basically. So
Yeah, so I mean, it can be sensory
But
overload for some people.
I
and
just
stuff.
don't understand when it became the burden of society at large to work around everybody's, particular needs on every fucking issue.
No matter how minute.
or you go to a gig, you would expect that people would clap.
Yeah, absolutely. And that could be preventing people from going to those events, which is a real shame. So if some theatres or some universities...
It's a shame, but listen, there are certain places that people can't go sometimes. It's just like not every
Right, like if you're a cripple, you can't jump on a trampoline
or go to the fucking water park.
Yeah, I mean,
know what I
like
mean?
there's certain things that, if you have certain issues, you just can't fucking do. Like, there's certain things that because I'm like fat that I'm excluded from.
There's
just
some
by
people
virtue of my being a big fat fuck.
There are some people that blister in direct sunlight. That doesn't mean we have to cover Disneyland in a fucking giant tarp to block out the sun. You know what I mean?
Right. You can't make everything accessible to every single person. And it's pretty silly to think that you're going to get an entire crowd full of people who are there to have a good time and a catharsis. Like all of a sudden there's this new limitation imposed on how they're allowed to celebrate so that, a smattering of people can enjoy the event marginally more.
To the detriment of everybody
Be
else.
more inclusive and do jazz hands instead. That'd be lovely. More people could get involved.
And then what would
Jazz hands?
Jazz hands, Paul. Next time you're at a concert and,
No. That's terrible.
whole crowd of people. Yeah.
No,
Jazz
dude.
hands.
Applause. This is the thing. You're taking away something that is actually socially fun for people. I love going to a live event, and if somebody deserves it, giving a nice, big, rousing standing O and a round of applause.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, you've been a performer on the stage before.
Yeah.
Doesn't it feel good if you?
Yeah.
If you elicit an applause,
It's a two-way street. Because it feels good to give that show of appreciation to somebody who's doing something live, and it feels good for the performers to receive it. So what you're talking about here is limiting everybody else in the world to that because some people got hearing aids.
And also, would this also ban the sarcastic slow clap that you give somebody?
Yes.
Would it be like, oh yeah, real nice.
No more clapping at all.
Real good, Harold. Real good. You know what I mean?
would be the penalty if you clapped?
I don't think there's going to be a penalty, frankly. I don't think anyone's going to say, you need to leave. But if you were persisting with clapping, even though you've been requested to do something, that's not very polite, is it? I think people understand.
Someone in the chat's like, I'm off to commit toaster bath.
Oh, shit.
I don't know if it's worth it, man.
Yeah, don't do it,
Don't
dude.
worry, she's not going to get her way.
No.
Clapping's here to stay, man.
Yeah, dude.
It ain't going nowhere.
People are going to keep clapping. Don't worry.
It's not happening.
If you're requested to do something in a specific context, you can do it.
Would it stop you, Andrew, if you were somewhere and you felt the urge to clap someone and yet they'd said, we don't clap here?
Well, no, it wouldn't. But what we don't do is completely restructure society and completely change societal norms.
All right. Well, okay. So let's pick on this guy's argument too, because
we do that.
Banning clapping is not restructuring society.
Not
okay?
only that, but we do restructure society.
Yeah, all the time.
All the time. Yeah, it's
We've done it
in a
before.
constant state of mutation. So.
But I mean, I still think it's dumb to ban clapping, but it's not restructuring society.
No.
That's a bit hyperbolic.
In order to accommodate the sensibilities of a few people.
Someone in the chat's like, I applaud this girl.
It's interesting, just reading a story about this on
They should have
BBC News
served her up with a
website.
big round of applause at the end of her
Individual called Hannah
appearance.
from Weymouth in Dorset she struggles with loud noises like clapping. She was diagnosed with autism when she was 23. She says, I don't agree with a ban on clapping. Instead, let's raise awareness of autism because this could breed resentment if other students start to harbour bad feelings towards autistic people or perhaps other people who object to clapping. I mean, that is a danger, don't you think? That there are people who would say, why are we banning everything just for a small proportion of people and blaming them?
I think that's definitely possible, but we shouldn't kind of meet the expectations
I would
of those
I would never blame deaf people in the audience if some kind of stupid clapping ban got passed. I would blame people like Ellen Scott here.
Yeah. It would, that would be where the blame belongs.
People. There's a lot of anger towards people with allergies as well. Say on planes, if you're not allowed to have nuts, you'll find people saying, oh, I can't believe I'm not allowed to have my Snickers bar or whatever.
Yeah, but having nuts on a plane is not sort of part of...
Are nuts banned on planes now?
I've gotten peanuts on a plane within the last 2 or 3 times I've flown. So
I don't feel like
think
nuts
so.
have been banned from planes, so kind of a weird Maybe they are in
Maybe if somebody has a nut allergy, they have to tell the plane beforehand, and they don't stock the nuts or something. But I've never run into it.
I've never had that happen.
Nor do I consider having nuts on a plane to be like an essential part of the plane experience either.
Yeah, I mean, like if they brought me some pretzels, I'd be pretty much just as fine with that.
Yeah.
Whatever they want.
Part of our cultural heritage. Clapping in a gig and in a theatre is just a total.
This bitch keeps saying gig. How many gigs this bitch gone to?
Gig.
A gig.
To a gig.
Normal thing to do.
It's totally normal.
Warnings and safe spaces and to basically coddle.
I think somehow I got.
When she was 23, who objects to clapping. I mean, that is a danger, don't you think?
Allowed.
It's just a totally normal thing to do.
It's totally normal, but that doesn't mean it can't change.
Andrew, is this a sign of the fact that we are accommodating, sort of maybe over-accommodating people who complain about stuff, while acknowledging it can cause problems for some people, but not changing?
I think that's what's so worrying about all of this. Actually, it's not just about the jazz hands, the clapping thing. It's about the broader culture. You know, what this is about a broader attempt to infantilize our student body, right? So it ties into things to do with trigger warnings and safe spaces and to basically coddle students when actually...
A lot of fake issues going on these days. You notice that?
There really are.
Like a crazy abundance of people having intense debates about things that just don't fucking matter.
I mean, it's probably like a sign of a relatively stable society, I guess.
Either that or a society that's ignoring its actual problems.
That too, I guess.
But I mean, like, it seems to me like there's probably things that we could address as a various cultures, planet, whatever the fuck. You know, whether you're talking about just like your local community or you're talking about your country or you're talking about your planet, there's probably things that could be addressed and discussed with a little bit more urgency than a proposed ban on clapping that's never going to fucking happen in a million years because people are not going to fucking respect that.
You might get a trigger warning for clapping before performances. Warning! The audience will clap. If this offends you, please make your way to the next exit. We will process a refund of your ticket.
Oh, yeah.
What university is about is educating them for life in the real world. You go out into the real world, people are going to be applauding in theatres, at sports events. If you talk to any major sports person, they'll tell you that actually it's the applause that keeps them going. It stimulates them. It's really important.
Greg on Twitter.
No, I think it's the money that keeps them going.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's the millions of fucking dollars or pounds.
But
or
I'm sure as a football player down there in a big consequence game, like having the crowd on your side all stomping and screaming and clapping and shit.
Yeah, I mean, that's bound to feel good.
Yeah, and it probably fuels your performance, too. Probably hypes you up a little bit down there, makes you go that extra mile, gives you your second wind or whatever.
It says, honestly, a room full of people with odd expressions doing jazz hands at me would make me feel a lot more anxious than if they were actually clapping. And there is a sense, isn't there? The vast majority of our audience are getting in touch. Very few saying, I think this is a good idea.
And the fact of the matter is...
Very few saying they think this is a good idea. She's just like...
Yeah, well, yeah, because it's a ridiculous position to take.
As you said, perhaps at university people might be okay with that, but they have to go into the real world at some point.
Okay, I mean, like, can we stop with this real world shit all the damn time? Like, where is it? The universities? What is it? An alternate fucking dimension?
I mean, when it comes to the ability of the student body to exercise social control on the group of people that they find themselves surrounded with on the day-to-day, it is kind of fantasy land in college.
But it's just a different part of the same world. There's not like an actual distinction between there's this and then there's the real world, you know? Like there's different social situations with different social abilities and different social norms. None of it's the real world as opposed to some fake world somewhere.
Well, not only that, but they're talking about a problem that is age-old and that has always been a part of growing up. It's like there's never been a point in history where people were, like, totally prepared to be out in the real world as an adult on their own when they first fucking did it. It's a giant leap, and it's a giant fucking exercise in learning to deal with shit. And it always has been. And it builds you into a person that can fucking live in this type of fucking world. But it's not like it just started. It's not like colleges just now became a place where kids didn't really have an idea what the fuck was going on out in the world.
I think we should ban clapping. This is going to go somewhere.
Yeah, just carry that expectation out of college and slowly but surely conform yourself, like the rest of us, to a society you don't necessarily agree with every aspect of.
I think you can almost see it happening on her face during the course of this fucking interview. So,
Don't they?
Yeah, the real world could change. Maybe we'll become more inclusive, which would be a great thing. I don't think it's a bad thing to be over-accommodating. I think that's lovely. That's something really nice about millennials.
But
being over-accommodating...
Well, the word overly, by definition, means it's bad.
Right.
You know? Like, so don't use that language then.
How can you be inclusive while simultaneously stripping away the mass majority of people's right to do something that has always been socially acceptable?
Yeah,
like, how is that? That's
how
not
about accommodating the 99 point whatever % of people who want to clap at a fucking show if they're at one? You know, like, does that not matter at all?
It doesn't. That's why I don't understand this idea of her selling this as inclusivity. That's not what it is.
It kind of eats itself. I mean, when this first got mooted back in 2015 by the Women's Conference at the NUS, there were people who were then saying, yeah, but are jazz hands an example of cultural appropriation? Is that therefore a form of racism? What about blind people who can't hear the applause anymore? So you often get into these sort of knots, and I just think and I have to say, actually, to be honest, one of the things that really annoys me about this is it kind of enables people to paint students as these sort of weak, fragile snowflakes. Actually, it's just a minority of students who tend to go into student politics, who like throwing their weight around, who have this kind of a coddling idea, and they want
quite a significant student union, though. Oxford
There's,
is one
you
of
know
the
what, dude?
most
This
prestigious-
type of inclusive shit, it happens in a lot of places, like wheelchair ramps, for example. The reason people don't fight usually against the idea of having a ramp next to the stairs or having a fucking access lift that people with fucking wheelchairs can use is because it's not like an integral part of the social contract to have stairs with no ramp. You know what I mean? It's not inclusive to the point where it's excluding normal people who just want to walk up the fucking stairs real quick.
Right. I mean, there's nothing. It doesn't affect people to have a fucking ramp there. It's not like, oh my god, this ramp. It's just pissing me off.
Or this fucking
now
elevator.
I can't walk up the stairs because there's this ramp. You know.
So this type of thing happens all the time in society, which kind of refutes his argument from earlier about society being this thing we can't change or shouldn't change.
It's in the world.
Well, it tends to be the most economically privileged who tend to push for this victimhood thing. I mean, studies tell us that's again and again. And the
who cares? I really don't care who it is. It's just stupid.
problem is it just play into the hands of the people who want to smear an entire generation. I mean, I've done talks at universities. Students, on the whole, are just sick of this stuff, and they hate the fact that these minority represent them, misrepresent them, and people just end up writing off an entire generation.
You have an alter ego, Tatiana McGrath, who's on Twitter. Have you, I mean, and you get quite provocative of the woke generation on Twitter. Have you ever been a
That account's pretty funny, by the way.
Oh, yeah,
that's like
fake woke feminist account.
The guy behind that, I guess.
Oh, okay.
victim of the cancel culture?
Well, no, I haven't been cancelled because I say what I want and I provoke when I want to. But although
other people have.
If by cancel culture you mean people abused me online and I've lost work over it, then yes, that is true. But I wouldn't say that I've been cancelled because I just say what I want.
Yeah.
And actually, it seems to do me quite well. You know.
We're going to have
You're
to leave
here
it
this
there.
morning.
Exactly.
Andrew, thank you for joining us. Alan, thanks for coming in as well, sharing your points of view. Stephanie makes that point about I'm registered blind. I wouldn't see if someone was doing jazz hands at me. How is this inclusive?
And then what do you say to that?
It's inclusive to deaf people, and we can do a lot of other things to make it more inclusive to visually impaired people.
And how would you do that?
I don't know yet, but that's something that...
I don't know yet. Why'd you say that?
You're asking for changes that you don't even know what they are?
So wait, you were asked about, well, what about blind people? And you're like, well, we can do something for them. And then they're like, well, like what? And you're like, I don't know that. Well, then how do you know you can do something for them? Like, how do you know you're going to have that solution if you don't even know what it is? This is stupid. This is never going to happen. There's no, I mean, like, it's just not going to happen. It's a fucking non-starter. Invest your time and energy in something else because that ain't never happening for you.
I mean, it got her on the news.
I guess it got her there. And, you know, I guess, you know, I mean, she was pretty nice about it, even if her point was stupid. It wasn't like she was some screechy, horrible monster or something like some of these fucking people have been.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, she was British, so, you know what I mean? She had that stiff upper lip going on.
Paul looking like a dead, soulless zombie.
Cool. Thanks, bro.
Is some heat building up in this news segment? I feel it getting heavy. You never know. You never know what's around the next bend. But right now we're talking to you guys. Let us know what you think. You could talk about the clapping thing if you want. I think we pretty much picked all the meat off that bone. But, you know, or you talk about whatever the fuck you want to talk about. It doesn't matter. I feel horrified of what this society is becoming. No, well, hold on. Don't panic. Because it's not becoming anything. I mean, it is, but the story we just looked at, that's not going to happen.
Right.
So don't go on the other end of it where you fall into this manufactured sense of outrage about, oh, no, they're going to ban clap. It's not going to happen. So don't worry about it. They brought her on that show specifically so that everyone could dogpile her and then they could report to her like, the viewers at home fucking think you're a moron. How do you respond to that? You know, she was there to be mocked and laughed at. So that's the proper place for her arguments, I think. You know, so let's be cool about it. You don't have to don't get into the sky is falling because of the fucking clapping thing, all right?
She was kind of cute. Yeah. I mean, she wasn't a bad-looking example of the super woke feminist. Oh, damn. Did we just sexualize her?
I don't know, Paul.
Shit. Just because she's a woman, I have to look at her as a sexual object. God damn it, I objectified.
You're sickening, Paul.
I did an objectification. I'm sorry. You know, I have autism and sensory processing disorder, but I've always felt that it makes my responsibility to prepare myself.
I carry
What
earplugs.
is this?
I carry earplugs specifically for the loud clapping.
Holy shit, dude.
Wow,
that's
someone
crazy.
who takes it upon themselves, I guess.
So you actually take it upon yourself to conform yourself to what 99% of society does as a norm. That's crazy. I
can't believe it.
I've never heard of such things.
I liked her. Her hair was good. At the very least, at least she seemed like she was coming from a good place, not wanting to hurt anyone. Doesn't make her point any more valid. Yeah, I mean, like
I disagree. I think she was trying.
You could fucking make that argument, I guess. But I mean, like it's pretty authoritarian, dude.
We talked about numerous ways where removing clapping from the social exchange would hurt people. Numerous ways.
But she doesn't care because she wants to get her little pet issue done.
Blind performers could no longer fucking know when people appreciated what they fucking did.
A blind audience member wouldn't know that, hey, the crowd's loving this.
Right. There's just, you know.
So, I mean, you know, it's just like, you know, you change something for one group of people and all of a sudden another group of people has a problem. So I don't like concerts to begin with. Even if I didn't have my hearing issues, I would avoid them. Fine.
Depends on the concert, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, like, if you just don't like it in general, that's whatever. But I mean,
I got nothing against it.
I'm sure you've probably been in other social situations where clapping is a thing. So, what is the most interesting thing you have found in your beard, Paul?
Mostly just like whole pieces of some kind of type food. You know, like a whole kernel of popcorn will be in there after I get out of movies sometimes.
That's great.
I found a Skittle in it once. That was pretty cool.
Did you eat the Skittle?
I did. What do you mean?
I don't even know why I asked.
Skittle? Why wouldn't you?
I would. But I can't wait till my beard's big enough to find stuff in again.
It doesn't happen often enough to be a giant deal. But yeah, I've found a few little food items in my beard before. She claps more than anyone. Clapophobic.
Do you guys have any ideas for enemies in my video game I'm making?
What kind of video game are you making?
Yeah, like what's the premise of this game, Flash Bash 64? Because I don't know what kind of enemy to throw in just like a generic game. Like what's the setting? What kind of fucking genre is it? What kind of weapons does the protagonist have, you know?
Yeah.
What kind of game is it in terms of like side-scrolling action platformer? Or...
I mean, who cares? Like, I got an enemy for you right now.
Go.
It's called the Duty Shoot.
The Duty Shoot.
Yeah, he's like a normal-looking guy, and he walks up to you, and then he bends over and reveals that his ass is in control of him. He starts lobbing shit out of his Duty Shoot at you and talking with his ass.
Am I the only one who gets upset stomach after eating movie theater popcorn?
Thankfully, yeah.
I don't think I've ever had that issue.
I love movie theater popcorn.
I don't like the way it makes my teeth feel.
How many have I killed? There's no way to answer that question. Like, if you actually think about it, how many people has my presence on this planet either directly or indirectly negatively impacted in some way that led to their death?
I mean, how much chocolate do you eat? Because that's a big one.
Right. I've eaten a lot of chocolate.
You ever bought any diamonds under any circumstance?
No. I've never bought a diamond.
So you're not contributing to that one.
No, I'm not.
I brought some sweatshop-made clothes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
probably wearing those now myself.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Yeah, I definitely am. I'm probably wearing some clothes that were made by some fucking 11-year-old in some horrible South American dictatorship. Should do a DFF on plastic and how the polymer in it is made out of carcinogenics because it is an estrogen mimic. Okay, that sounds like something we could.
Yeah, we could
milk
look into
for
it.
3 hours.
we could at least toss it in there somewhere. Have a early 2000s TJ smugly dismissing you enemy. Yeah, I'm just like there doing this like
Oh yeah, his wave away.
And every time I do the wave, you fly back to the beginning of the level. So you gotta like be really quiet so as not to like get my notice.
Trying to remember what you did the other day. It was when I was in the car with you.
I did something the other day.
Scotty, yeah. We were driving back from Scotty's, all three of us in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in the back seat, and you took, was it like a tissue that you had used? You took something that you wouldn't want on you, and you literally just laid it in Scotty's lap. And then he was like, TJ, what the fuck did you do, dude? Why'd you fucking put this here? And you just, that was your response. You were like,
I don't even remember this.
I don't remember what it was. It was like a dirty napkin or like I don't know what it was. It was something gross, though. Something you wouldn't want on you if somebody else had used it. You just like laid it in Scotty's lap.
That sounds like me.
And then when he protested, you just waved him away. You're like,
Would you agree cotton candy is the most overrated treat? No. Cotton candy's pretty cool. I mean, I wouldn't want to eat this shit every day, but,
I'm never going to order myself a cotton candy.
Right, but if someone else has one, you're going to take a little...
I'll take a piece or two of
take
somebody
a couple
else's
wisps
cotton
off that
candy.
motherfucker. You ain't going to sit there and want to eat a whole ream of it or anything. But yeah, I mean, it's a good shareable kind of carnival attraction sort of snack. DFF Elliot Hulse. Do you know who that is?
Nope.
Neither do I.
Don't care.
Maybe it's cool. You don't know.
It isn't.
It's not?
I can guarantee.
You can 100% guarantee it's not.
100% guarantee that there's nothing interesting about Elliot Hulse.
Maybe at the end of the simulation, we'll get to know our overall indirect kill count. Oh, yeah, that'd be cool.
Oh,
like
wow.
you get stats at the end. Like, that's heaven. You just get to look at your stats.
Yeah, you get like the GTA stat screen.
Yeah.
This is how many people you indirectly murdered.
This is how many nuts you busted.
Yeah.
This is how many times you stubbed your fucking toe.
This is how many times you made somebody cry.
Yeah, this is how many times you got cut off in traffic. Here's a picture of how many fucking cigarettes you smoked. Just like everything. Every fucking stat you could want to know. It's all there. And you can just pour over it like, man, I can't believe it.
It's pretty cool. And then maybe at the end you get a chance to start a new game plus or something.
Oh, yeah.
Go back and try again. You can compare stats of all your lives.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Yeah, this first life.
This is like getting into like the shit my dad used to talk all the time. He was like, TJ, are we mortal beings or are we immortal beings having the mortal experience?
Oh, okay.
Think about that.
Let that bake your noodle, TJ.
One time I was at a party in the 60s. This woman, she said this most intelligent thing I've ever heard. She said, life is just a game. I'm like, okay. And he had this thing. Oh, and his other thing about it was like, you know what happens when you die, TJ? All the systems in your body shut down one by one. Almost as if like when you leave a house, what do? Go around and shut off all the lights. That's your soul leaving your body. Going back to its immortal experience.
Wow.
That was an interesting mortal life.
We'll turn off the lungs. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, I love this liver.
For
Turn
that,
off
for
the
that
liver
to
function.
So, Dad, for that to work, life would have to be in some way enjoyable. Like, it had to be a fun diversion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, whoa, that was crazy. No one would do this voluntarily.
Nope.
No one would be like, I'm an immortal being. You know what I want to do? I want to go live a mortal life.
Watch myself
where I get
rot.
to fucking work at the Sizzler, and get to fucking get old and wither away and, my fucking eyes start failing me and all that shit. It's going to be great. You know what I'm looking forward to, by the way, in terms of, like, speaking of body parts failing, is when, like, there's going to be, like, robot hearts and shit at some point,
At some point.
Right.
Whether we see them or not is a...
I don't know if it'll be in my lifetime, but it's going to happen.
Right.
So what happens when that's better and people start just voluntarily, like, doing that? I want to see, it's all the transhumanist shit. What's going to be interesting to me is going to be the counter movement. Like the don't augment yourself people.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see how crazy they're going to get.
Well,
I hope I live long enough to see their protests.
What's the name of that goddamn video game that's pretty much all about that?
I don't know.
It's Deus Ex, basically.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's basically about...
Maybe I should be playing that, because that's I love that shit.
Yeah, play the first one.
Yeah.
The first Deus Ex is really good, but it's set in that time where, like, there's...
Ooh,
these cyborgs are starting to come around, and they're faster and stronger and smarter than everybody else, and then there's this kind of, like, human separatist movement, the purity movement or whatever, that's like, don't, unhallow your temple.
Fake heart have existed since 20... I'm not talking... Yeah, okay. I'm talking about, like, something that's equal to or better than what you have. Not like, okay, this can do the job. I'm talking like, this is a total heart replacement, or it's actually better and more efficient than the organic human heart.
Right.
That's what I'm talking. I'm talking about it getting to that point.
Because it can fight against the things that the human heart succumbs to eventually.
Right.
It can clean its own fucking arteries out, and it ensures its own valve function.
And then when people start doing that, like, all this debate we have right now about transgender athletes, that's all going to be about augmented humans too.
Right.
It's going to be like, well, what kind of augmentation should be allowed in sports and all this? And I don't know. It's
if we get that far, which I don't know that I believe that civilization is going to last long enough for us to get to the point where, like, consumer cybernetics are a huge thing. But
I guess it just depends on what the timeline is for that.
Right.
Because I kind of suspect that it might be, like, with quantum computing and stuff like that, if we hit that Ray Kurzweil singularity, if that holds true, then I think we could see it in our lifetimes.
Maybe.
But maybe
I really doubt that we're going to see that type of thing in our lifetimes.
I kind of feel like maybe I will, but it's like...
And that of course...
That's like a coin flip for me.
We live in a time now where we could destroy ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
Or pretty much destroy it. We definitely set ourselves back a few generations.
I'm just hoping we live long enough to get some of that cool shit that I'm thinking about. But
fucking climate change might go ahead and do that for us.
Yeah, but I'm hoping that I know that's going to be going down. I know this could be like the oceans are toxic and everyone's dying, all this stuff. But I don't know if that'll necessarily slow the march of that stuff, because there's still going to be a rich elite that fucking can kind of cocoon themselves.
Well, yeah, but they're
away.
the only ones that are going to be able to get it.
Yeah, bastards. But well, at least us plebs might at least get to look at it like, oh, cool. Look at that rich person. He's now an immortal cyborg. That's so awesome. Love it.
We could have that in 60 years. Citation needed. Like, I don't know. Like, there's been a lot of growth in, like, prosthetics.
I mean, there's prosthetic limbs you can control with your mind.
But
now.
it's mind and muscle control in the stump that does it.
Right.
Which is fine, but that's a far cry from what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Where people are like, lop my arms off and put those fucking robo arms on.
Yeah, because this is better.
Right?
This is undeniably better, and this is what I want now.
People that have prosthetics, they still struggle to, you know what I mean? Me picking up this glass as quick as I just did is something they have to really like.
Right. They got to learn it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not the same. It's not better than what I can do.
They don't have that fine motor control.
We're talking about you being able to reach out and grab a cup or anything quicker than you can with this, with less problems and less injury prone. You know what I mean? I think that's a ways off.
This is Matt Walsh. Porn should be regulated like alcohol or tobacco.
Okay.
And he works for the Daily Wire, which I believe is Ben Shapiro's little thing.
Oh, okay. So that's the angle we're getting then.
Right.
Got it.
If you're a conservative you should not be shocked and scandalized by the argument that hardcore porn is not a human right and should be regulated or banned.
Right. So last I checked, conservatives were supposed to be about like small government, right?
Right.
Like the whole like sales pitch behind conservatism is you don't need no government interfering in your life and what you do and all this. And I mean, I don't know if anybody's saying, I can't think of anyone out there that's like saying like porn is a human right or something.
Right. That kind of sticks
like,
in my craw because it's the system by which porn is allowed to be made that I think is a human right. The freedom of speech and expression.
Right. So I mean, like we have freedom of speech. It's enshrined in our First Amendment. The interpretation, the battle has been fought on this issue. The interpretation is that yes, porn is included in that. So I don't really, I mean, like you claim to be as a conservative for small government, and the government shouldn't interfere in your day-to-day life. They shouldn't decide how many guns you have. They shouldn't decide what size soda you're allowed to drink.
They shouldn't be pulling the strings in the marketplace of ideas in any way.
Right. So I mean, like, it seems to me like that protection should definitely encompass pornography as well as it does anything else. So I don't really get it, but let's see.
I'm not saying
I don't think it's a conservative position, is all I'm saying.
I'm not saying we have to be on the same page with it. I'm just saying that the argument I'm making here is an argument that every conservative 50 years ago would have at least taken seriously.
50 years ago is so fucking irrelevant.
There's a lot of things that people took seriously 50 years ago that aren't really worth thinking about.
Right. I mean, like, things have changed. You now have this little thing you might have heard of. In fact, I think you have heard of it because you're broadcasting on it. It's called the internet.
I mean, 50 years ago, those self-same conservatives would have been pulling their hair out about the gay couple that lived down the road. Now that's been normalized to shit.
Right. So I mean, like, you wouldn't even have to be conservative to be like gays are bad.
Right.
In those times, it doesn't matter.
Everybody was gay or bad.
That was just the default of society is gay people are bad. Now, maybe there was a few people here and there that I disagree with society, but for the most part, that was where society was. Casual racism is okay. 50 years ago, yeah. It's just like, yeah, of course. Of course the white race is superior to all of the races.
Miscegnation was okay up until about, 30 years ago or 40 years ago.
Right.
It was totally illegal for a black person to marry a white person or vice versa. Race mixing was illegal.
Right.
Like,
so, I mean, I don't know when exactly that happened. But I mean, like, to take the sensibilities of a bygone era and just be like, 50 years ago, like, who gives a shit? 50 years have passed since then. Have you seen the kind of shit that happens in a year? Let alone 50 of the fuckers? Like, argue from the present moment. Because you're never going to turn back the clock to some bygone era. Like, that just doesn't happen. It doesn't work. Everyone who's ever tried it has failed miserably. It's just, you can't put the genie back in the fucking bottle. That's not to say that you couldn't create a pornless paradigm, or at least one where it's explicitly banned. But it's not going to be what it was before. You're not going to it's going to be something new.
Every single one. If you recoil in horror at the very thought of regulating or banning porn, it's because you have so totally accepted the left's premise on pornography and probably on so many other issues as well. Not just pornography. You have hooked.
50 years ago, you'd have been looked down on for that tattoo on your arm, too.
Yeah, that's true.
People would have, hell, even to this day, like, I took Chelsea to a nice restaurant for her birthday. She has a tattoo on her arm, and some old dude walked by the table and looked at her tattoo and was like, yeah. It's like, what?
Right.
So, I mean, like, there's still people in that mentality. So, I mean, like, I don't know.
Hook, line, and sinker. You have accepted the left's cultural arguments, and you don't even know it.
Okay. The left's arguments. Gotcha.
You are looking at, and I don't mean this as, oh, you're acting like a leftist, like some empty insult. I mean it literally. You are seeing the world through the eyes of a leftist, and you don't even know it.
Wow. The Matrix has you.
The left Matrix.
I'm pretty sure that the guy out there in the world who is like, I'm a conservative, but I still look at porn. I don't think it's because they're seeing the world through the eyes of a leftist. I think it's because they like jerking their dick off to big titties.
That sounds about right.
I think that's the actual motive there. I don't think they've been brainwashed by the left that's convinced them. Like, if anything, This guy's fucking thinking like a leftist because those people on the extreme feminist end of the left totally agree with this, that pornography is evil and it has a corrosive effect on society. So if anything, you're acting like a blue-haired fucking feminist. So how the fuck are you saying that the conservatives who are pro-porn are the ones who are acting like leftists? Don't make no sense to me, bro.
Isn't porn consumption higher in the more conservative states?
Oh, yeah.
So it's
yeah.
total hypocrisy.
Like here in Louisiana, because there's more of like a strong social conservative bent, the porn that's more explicitly kind of like, ooh, that's socially taboo, like gay porn, way more people looking at gay porn around here because they're in the closet.
Right.
Way more people looking at racial porn because it's more taboo and there's more overt racism in the South. So it's like a little bit hotter to them to like, yeah, blacks on blondes or whatever the hell. So that stuff is viewed more here because of that.
And that's the case if a classic conservative argument about obscenity scandalizes and shocks you. It's not just that conservatives have abandoned their own positions. It's that now
the obscenity, the idea that obscenity is not protected, like this category called obscenity is a totally, it exists just to subvert freedom of speech.
Well, I associate the word obscenity with an attempt to curtail freedom of speech.
That's exactly, I mean, that's what it is. It's just
exactly.
Hey, we're going to make this artificial exemption to what you're allowed to say because we've now labeled it obscenity. Basically, that's just saying it offends enough people that we're now just going to view it as that you're not even allowed to say it because it's just too bad. It's too offensive. And if you're a free speech absolutist, which I think if you're going to truly call yourself a conservative or a liberal in this country, you have to be. I mean,
it's definitely the most important principle enshrined in our fucking Constitution.
I mean, it's pretty much, it's the cornerstone of what this country,
it's what allows this country to function.
Like, when you're told as a kid that we have freedom in this country, it's pretty much that they're talking about. Like, this is the country where you could say whatever you fucking want to say.
You can express your ideas.
And, porn is a form of fucking expression.
You might not like it.
Yeah, you might not like what it has to say.
I guarantee that you do, though. That's the fucked up thing about
this dude
this guy probably turned his webcam off after he filmed this and went on to bustyblacks.com and cranked one out. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous.
Tranny fucking man ass. It's like
conservatives are actually offended by conservative positions on things.
What's conservative about it? I want you to tell me what's conservative about the position. I know I know you can't hear me, but
that's how thoroughly the left has won.
Right.
The left has won so thoroughly.
Cool.
That like I said on
Go
Common
left.
Good, I was talking about Common Good. Someone told me that
I don't know if you are aware of this or not, but like you've yet to make an argument. You notice that? You notice how you haven't
32 in, yeah.
You notice how you haven't actually made a single argument yet? You might want to get on that.
The idea of the common good is jargon.
Right.
This is a conservative. So it's just jargon. The very concept of good is now jargon.
Okay.
This is relativism. This is nihilism and relativism, and it has infiltrated conservatism in a major way.
How could it not, though?
We live in a relativistic universe,
right? You've all people are starting to acknowledge what, in my opinion, it's just the fucking truth of nihilism. All nihilism gets tossed about like it's this fucking super dirty word to so many people. All it means is that existence is meaningless. And I've yet to see one person define what meaning even is. And I've yet to have one person demonstrate to me that that it exists, independent of us, independent of what's meaningful to me or to you or to any individual person or to us as a collective.
Which are all based on constructs that are almost entirely social and entirely driven by our evolution, things that are out of our fucking control. So how could there be meaning in that?
Right.
When what is meaning has changed.
Independent of us, though, or any other conscious being out there that has a concept like meaning. Like, what is meaning? Like, is Pluto fucking meaningful? Is a quasar meaningful? Is a black hole meaningful? And if it is, then who is it meaningful to?
And how is it meaningful?
I guess probably God.
It's just...
So are you saying that, God is a cornerstone of conservatism? I guess you probably would think that. I don't know.
When conservatives decided that government should not be used to advance the good, in that when that happened.
I mean, you, as a conservative fucking guy with a show, I'm sure that you have made countless arguments against the government advancing someone else's idea of what's good.
Right.
I thought the whole point of conservatism is that the government should step the fuck out
and let people decide what's good for them.
Right. That's like the whole sales pitch of, hey, we're the conservatives. We're the ones who don't want the government involved in your life. Like, okay, so if you believe this, if you believe that the government needs to step in and stand up for good, then support fucking Medicare for all.
Well,
support free college. Support all of these social programs that are being proposed by people like Bernie Sanders.
The type of conservatism that he's talking about is 100% social conservatism, which is totally separate from the idea of conservatism that he's trying to sell this as, because it's directly involved in the growing of government. It's directly involved in interceding in people's private fucking affairs. So it's at direct odds with traditional conservatism on the economic side of things and the regulation side of things.
And the freedom side of things. It's this branch of conservatism that is fed by the Christian identity movement that has infiltrated conservatism and made it basically just another liberalism. Now you're asking for the government to slap, my mouth every time I say this certain word or collection of words that you deem to be obscene.
Right. So this is not conservatism. This is Christian identitarianism.
Right.
So that's what it is. Frame it as that.
Well, he can't frame it as that because that doesn't sell well to most people.
Yeah, people are like, fuck you. That your religion is your business.
He's got to try and convince people that are just stay out of my way, small government conservatives, that in order to do that, they also have to care what's going on in my fucking bedroom and have the government interceding in that.
Hey, say, what's that fat fuck jerking off to, huh?
Right.
And it wasn't at one point that it happened, but over the course of decades. But that is when conservatism became limp, shallow, and ineffectual. Also divorcing itself from its own intellectual history.
Well, if you're worried about conservatism
if you're worried about conservatism being limp, then why do you want to ban porn? Good one. I think that he's actually right. Not necessarily about his time frame. I think that when this Christian identity movement infected the mass fucking conservative movement, that's when it became limp and ineffectual. Because it started arguing against human rights. It started arguing against the freedom of speech, the freedom of expression, the freedom to prosecute whatever business you want in this country as long as it doesn't hurt somebody else, the freedom to peruse whatever it is you want to peruse as an adult. That's when it became limp and ineffectual, because it started arguing against things that you're never going to convince the mass populace they'd be better without. I'd be better without the choice to watch whatever I want to watch. I'd be better without being able to fucking fuck my wife any way I want to without worrying about fucking obscenity laws.
And that is why the left always wins, because the right has...
Has he even made an argument yet? Asked Tucker White 94 from the chat. Let me think. No.
Not one that holds up under the barest of fucking scrutiny.
No, but I mean, he's alluded to the fact that there is an argument, but he's yet to actually make it at 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
The one half-assed argument that he's made that we spent most of this time dismantling is that in order to be a conservative, you need to care about these big government programs interceding in the freedom of speech and expression.
So if you want to identify with this label... Which, who cares whether or not you want to... I mean, who cares about the label in the first place? But if you want to be with this label, then you got to get with my ideas about this stuff. It's like, even though it's contrary to the main sales pitch of the idea that you're supposedly championing, which is conservatism, which has always been about government off my back, government out of my way.
And he doesn't even think about his position and extrapolate it back into history. I can almost guarantee on that stupid fucking pretentious bookshelf that he's got behind him, there's probably some literature in that at some point in history, people like him would have fucking banned. Because some expression of sexuality, some expression of racial coexistence. I can almost fucking guarantee it. That there are books back there that people like you would have wanted to toss in a heap and burn because they were obscene.
Abdicated, has run away, has surrendered. My friend Josh Hammer, who also works at Daily Wire, writes great pieces every day. He made the point last night.
No, he doesn't.
That the right has almost entirely abandoned moral arguments and arguments rooted in justice. The right has almost completely stopped making those arguments and ceded all of that to the left. The left makes those arguments all the time. And they always win. They always win because nobody...
No, they don't. What? The left does not always win their justice arguments. I mean, we just saw a bitch earlier in this show that wanted to ban clapping as a matter of justice. She was roundly laughed off the stage.
I mean, there's still heartbeat abortion bills in this country.
Right. Isn't that that's an emotional fucking thing? You know, like the conservatives make tons of moral arguments all over the place. Even the whole, like, keep Christ in Christmas thing is some kind of, in their eyes, has a moral, emotional dimension to it. So this idea that, like, oh, conservatives have just ceded this morality issue to the left. No, they haven't. It's ridiculous. I mean, you're just full of shit.
Opposes them. They're just running up and down the football field, scoring touchdowns, and there's no defense on the field to stop them.
Yeah, all the left-wing touchdowns lately, man.
Oh, yeah.
Trump.
They're just winning on everything.
It. You know, Bernie he's dominant in the polls, pulling it 100%.
Yep. Scored a touchdown on that one, didn't we?
I mean,
scandal after fucking scandal.
Where's the fucking touchdown?
The constant pendulum swing back and forth between left and right when it comes to, you know, the politicians that occupy the chambers of fucking Congress and the House and the Senate.
They say we should do this or that because it's right and it's just. And these weak, emasculated conservatives are sitting off in a corner going, oh, we don't want to legislate morality. So we're not going to chime in here. Hey, guys, let's not legislate morality. No, we don't want to do that.
You mean like an actual conservative would say? You mean like somebody that actually could credibly call themselves a conservative would say? Let's not let the government step in and tell us what we can say and what we can read and what we can look at. Let's leave that up to the individual to define. That old conservative argument.
Not only that, but he's just like, you'd have to just have no awareness of or just like momentarily have a lapse in memory about the entire abortion issue. Because that's the entire argument that conservatives, quote unquote, make on the abortion issue is to do with morality. It's unethical to, terminate this pregnancy because that's a human being. That's the entire basis of the fucking argument. And they legislate that all the time. So what is this, like, supposed conservative reluctance to legislate morality? It's just that they don't agree with you. They don't agree with you that, a fucking porn actress that's getting paid fucking $5,000 to get a dick on her ass on camera or whatever the fuck. They don't agree that that's some great fucking deteriorating force in fucking society. They just don't agree with that because, you know why? Because they want to watch that. And they want to put their dick in their hands and they want to beat off to it and pretend that that dick on the screen that's 10 times as large as theirs is theirs. And that they're fucking that bitch. That's what's going on. It's really not complicated. You're overcomplicating the issue. The conservatives' reluctance to do anything on this issue, which, by the way, isn't even true. There's still people who try to pass anti-porn legislation.
All the time.
From the right, all the time. But the reason it doesn't ever go anywhere is it's just like, Ted Cruz, one of the most conservative guys you could find out there. We know he's looking at porn because he accidentally fucking favorited one on his public account. All these guys, you're looking at porn, Matt Walsh. You're looking at it, and you're looking at it. Even if you try to resist.
Even if he's not, let's give him the fucking ground. Let's just say that he's not a dude that indulges in porn. You still haven't made an argument as to why anybody that wants to should be able to.
That's wrong. We shouldn't do that. And then they try to make all their arguments based on economy or something like that, or even worse, based on rights divorced from the good. And they lose every damned time because their arguments are weak and timid and toothless and grounded in nothing. If you've noticed that you're a conservative and you always lose every argument, this is why.
No, that's not why.
No.
It's actually a very different reason.
Yep.
No.
Starting to have little flashes of self-awareness here, though.
Uh-oh.
Why? Because your arguments are terrible.
I agree with that.
So let's see how your conservative audience received this again. Let's see.
Oh, they didn't like it, huh?
Oh, let's refresh. Oh, we're at 340 in case I lose the spot when I do this refresh. Because it might be even different by now.
If you're a conservative.
So yeah, it looks like
they're not feeling the love.
Looks like most of the people, this Daily Wire audience, this Ben Shapiro audience, even most of them are just like, meh.
No.
Yeah, I don't think so, Matt. I don't think you're right on this one, bro. By the way, Ben Shapiro laughably referring to himself as a libertarian with this guy on his network. What's libertarian about this?
And have no grounding. Okay, so that's the first objection. Objection number 2. In fact, okay, let's go to the next objection. I just mentioned it. Legislate morality. Oh, we shouldn't legislate morality. We now, I keep going back to this, but I don't mean to harp on it, but just...
Well, then don't.
The fact that conservatives are now saying don't legislate morality, this stupid bumper sticker slogan that you hear from conservatives now,
and traditionally
it is so depressing. Of course we legislate morality. What are you talking about? Of course we do. Everything that is illegal because we have decided that it's wrong. So every law we make, every single law we make is based on a moral conception.
No, not really.
The protection of life and property seems to be at the basis of most of our...
Right, there's usually a more pragmatic reason for most laws. And a lot of times when laws are passed on some sort of moral basis, it's things like, we're going to outlaw cannabis because it's making the Negroes crazy or something.
Right.
You know, and it's basically a totally false basis of like, oh, well, we got to do it to protect ourselves from the scary black people.
We're going to ban this book because it's leading children away from God.
Yeah, it's some stupid nonsense like that. So, yeah, but most of our laws is like protect your life, protect your property, maintain social cohesion, you know, but if you're going to, even if I bought your argument though, if you're going to say that, you know, we should legislate personal morality just because, you know, we don't like something, then demonstrate to me that porn is immoral. Like, where's the argument for that? Like, and if you are going to make an argument, is it just going to be the blue-haired feminist argument? And if that's the case, then how can you really say that it's your opponents who are brainwashed by the left? Because it seems like it's you.
We can be wrong, okay? We have decided in this society that it's good, in fact, that it would be evil to stop women from killing their babies, and thus it is legal for them to kill the babies. So we can be wrong with our moral conceptions, but what I'm establishing here is that there is no such thing.
Whoa, wait, what was that weird little note in your voice there? What I'm establishing here,
I accidentally backed myself into an ideological corner for a second. Let me just scramble my way up this fucking... okay, get me out of here. All right. What I'm saying is...
as not legislating morality. That is a thing that doesn't exist ever, anywhere. If a thing is...
Our audience, by the way, is... They're done with this fucker. They're just like, oh, God, please.
You guys love it.
Please, God,
this is abandoned hope.
Yeah.
This is the abandoned hope segment.
This
fucking
is
ride the wave, bitches.
Yeah, you're supposed to feel bad. You're supposed to feel
This is not a
bad.
feel-good show.
This is a feel-bad event of the year.
We have decided, or the government's decided, that it's wrong. If something is not just wrong, but evil, morally evil.
Okay.
If something is not morally evil, then it shouldn't be illegal. Simple as that.
Oh, it's just as simple as, hey, this totally subjective bullshit in my head. Oh, all we have to do is legislate my subjective fucking opinions.
Yeah,
and then everything's gonna be good.
You can't even demonstrate the existence of the thing you want to base all these laws on. Show me evil. Define evil and prove it exists to me. Yeah, like you're not even over the hump on that yet, and you're trying to fucking make legislation based on this fucking stupid-ass proposition? No, thank you.
There is no morally good thing that should ever be illegal. Now, there are morally evil things that shouldn't necessarily be illegal.
See how convoluted this is getting?
Many different factors.
Right. You gotta just ban everything evil. Except there are some evil things that you should just let happen. It's like, why? If it's evil, as I understand it to mean when it comes out of people like you, it's like the total blackness. It's totally against humanity, totally against everybody else. It's the worst thing that you could possibly do. It exists to do nothing but sow pain and discord and discomfort amongst people. Why would you have to back into this? Well, there's some things that are technically evil that you should let people do. Doesn't that kind of support our side of the fucking argument?
Yes.
That evil is a totally subjective bunch of fucking nonsense? By the way, too, you snuck in another one, an absolute moral good that I've never seen fucking demonstrated either. So you got two concepts here that you want to write a bunch of legislation about how I can live my life on, and you're incapable of demonstrating to me that either of them exists in any capacity. This might be why I have a problem with your fucking propositions.
Factors like how do you enforce it? Yeah, what would that entail? Degrees of things, and who's affected. You do weigh all of these things. But my point is, the only reason why anything is ever a candidate for being illegal is that it's evil.
Wrong. Evil doesn't even come into it. Or at least shouldn't. I agree that sometimes legislation is passed where this fucking unidentifiable concept that is evil is invoked.
Look,
but it shouldn't.
As far as it comes to the really important laws of society, it's stuff that just protects everyone. Like, no one wants to be brutally murdered, so they like the fact. Everyone likes the fact that there's a deterrent to murdering people.
Right. It's protecting us.
No one wants their shit stolen, so it makes sense that there's laws to discourage people from stealing. That doesn't mean that, like, there's this fucking great cosmic force called evil out there. Like, the dude who stole your stereo didn't do it because he's Snidely Whiplash. He stole it to make some fucking money off of it.
Right.
And most of the murders that happen are not because of just like, hey, I'm doing this to glorify evil or something. It's usually like, this motherfucker muscled in on my territory or something.
Right. They're motivated by gain or self-interest.
Right. There's usually
or
very
mental illness.
Practical reasons why someone murders someone. This person is a fucking hindrance to me. This person has wronged me, and now I will seek my own retribution. Whatever the fuck. All of those things have practical, real-world motivators. It's not just this great cosmic force of darkness that has tainted the world.
I mean, if it is, I wish one of these fucking guys would demonstrate it to me. I want to know if it's out there. You know what I mean? Because as far as I can tell, it doesn't exist. I've never seen it demonstrated to me. And if it is out there, some big malevolent darkness that infects people and makes them do horrible things, fucking A, I want to know it.
So let's just go through the fucking process here. Consenting adults have sex. They film that sex. They put that sex out there into the world.
To sell to other people.
Either for free or for pay or whatever. And other people see them having sex and they jerk off to those people having that consensual sex. And at some point, evil is introduced into the equation.
Right. Evil.
I don't see where the evil comes in. I'm failing to see it. Now, I mean, like, maybe you could make a case that there's some aspects of, like, the porn industry that are exploitative. You can make a case that, like, when there's, like, non-consensual fucking, criminal fucking porn shit going on out there, that's bad.
I don't know anybody that doesn't agree with that.
Right. So that's fine. But when it comes to 99.999% of the porn that you see on the internet, on like Pornhub or wherever the fuck you go, like, where does evil come into the equation? At what point during that process is evil invoked? Where is it coming into the fucking equation? And how can you demonstrate to me that it's present? And until you've met those fucking standards, I don't see how this argument goes anywhere.
There's no way to meet those standards. Because it's just like, it's the old atheist argument of I've got an invisible unicorn in my fucking garage. Well, can you show it to me? No, he's invisible. Well, can I touch it? No, it's incorporeal. It's only there when nobody else is looking.
Then it's there. Until then, it's not.
according to at least the people in power. So this don't legislate morality thing, I just wish everyone would stop saying it. Because when you say that, you reveal that you have no idea why laws even exist. And yet...
I think you're the one who's revealed that, sir.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to the chat, and then we'll take a little break, and then we'll be back with some more.
That was a slog.
I know, right?
Holy fuck, what a dumbass.
Love that.
It does not shock me that he's, working on Ben fucking Shapiro's network.
Oh, God, no.
Not
so how's
shocking
everybody
at
doing
all.
after that? You guys feel beaten down?
I hope so, because I do. Feel like I've been smacked in the face with moronism for about the last half hour.
Oh, yeah.
Let's not forget the ultimate moral crusade against prostitution. Yeah. Yeah. Another transaction that should, between consenting adults should be just fine.
He didn't even make the argument that was in the title of his video. I know. Isn't that fun? Wow, that guy was lame.
I mean, that's pretty fucking common now, though.
I know,
to
right?
click on a video that's named something that is never really invoked in the body of the video.
Yeah, he mentions that it should be regulated like alcohol and tobacco, and I don't think either of those things was even mentioned in that video. So he didn't make the argument that he claimed he was setting out to make.
I mean, isn't that argument already in place? Porn is already regulated.
Right.
It's already age-gated, both in participation and presumably in who can consume it, although it's up to fucking parents to make sure that that's not being circumvented. Just like it's up to parents to make sure kids aren't drinking whiskey out of the fucking bottle behind the bar. You know what I mean? Like, that sounds like something that it's mom and dad's fucking job to keep their fucking kids from participating in if they choose to. And best left out of the hands of stupid government bureaucrats.
Yeah, I don't understand how. I mean, like, it just goes to show that there's not really much of a difference between the left and right in this country in terms of the issue of the government stepping in. Because, I mean, there's a few true blue, like, libertarian conservatives out there who are really like, government out of my business, government out of my affairs. I'm not that way. I believe that the government should be more involved in certain things, but I feel like at least when I'm making an argument, there's a practical element to it. Like, there's a benefit to society of, I mean, like, and we know this because we just both had to sign up for health care that we both think is overpriced and ridiculously ineffectual. Yep. And I'm sure that a lot of Americans in this open enrollment period have gone through the same fucking thing. Where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to buy, my health insurance. A lot of people are insured through their employer, but if you're buying it on the open market, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It's fucking awful. It's fucking awful. The fucking premiums are sky high. The deductibles are sky high. The out-of-pocket cost is sky high. The fucking exceptions that the fucking insurance companies can make are crazy.
Just the sheer amount of stupid, arbitrary differences between pretty equally priced programs. It just,
I can point to statistical facts about 45,000 Americans dying every year because they don't have the proper health insurance. There's something you can actually point at there.
Where's the moral argument for that?
Right. So I mean, if you're gonna make this grand moral argument about consenting adults fucking on camera, and talk about the morality of that situation, then I mean, I think you should, like, how do you fucking possibly oppose something like universal health care?
I mean, if you're gonna
it would demonstrably save tens of thousands of lives.
If you're gonna take this stupid kindergarten idea that everything bad is perpetrated by the big boogeyman that is evil, what is leaving somebody's fucking grandma to rot without the proper health care after she worked her whole life? Wouldn't moral evil have crept into that fucking transaction? And yet you're mum on that. You're too busy trying to fucking intercede in what I stroke my dick to look around at the people literally dying of preventable illness, dying for lack of fucking baseline medical care. Where's big bad evil on that side of the transaction? Or is moral good involved in denying people the right to go to a doctor and get fixed if they're hurt or broken? Just such fucking nonsense. Every argument that invokes that stupid fucking term, evil, or absolute good, is just like Swiss cheese. It's just the stupidest fucking argument I've ever heard.
That guy was a clone of Steve Shives. No, he wasn't.
I mean, he kind of looked a little Shives-ish.
Yeah, maybe a little. But I don't think he was a clone. So we're going to go take a little break.
Okay.
So that I can smoke a cigarette. And we're going to be back, and we're going to do a segment I call Land of the Woke.
Oh, God.
It's going to be real good. So stay tuned for that. And I'm going to go to this. And we're back.
Why, hello.
Authoritarianism is on both sides, but seeing this, are you not buying into the idea that sides exist, which is the primary problem with society, if we're going to be honest? I don't know if it's the primary problem. It's certainly one of the bigger ones, this tribalistic bullshit. Like, a bunch of people were fucking making a big deal the other day about some Democrat switching parties. It's just like, who gives a fuck? Motherfucker's the same, no matter what he calls himself. He's going to vote pretty much the same.
I mean, if anything, it just kind of underscores how stupid the idea of a two-party system is. If people can just, like, swap back and forth at will.
Yeah, I'm over here now.
Just kind of, you know, feeds into my idea that they're both basically two sides of the same fucking coin.
Yeah, if there was this big, real chasm between the parties, especially now when it's like, oh, we're more divided than ever, then how's a switch like that even possible? You know?
Doesn't make a lot of sense.
But anyway, we're going to get into Land of the Woke now, and then we'll be back to chat with you guys.
Oh, no.
This is going to be fun. So here's our first one. Casual fucking reminder that white race scientists invented fat phobia and the concept of obesity. If you are ever fat phobic or are on some, oh, well, fat is unhealthy, UWU bullshit. It's supposed to look like a face, I guess.
Yeah, it's one of those little Japanese emojis.
I hope you fucking know that someone's white ancestor is smiling in their grave.
That's creepy.
Ha ha ha, they bought into the fat phobic lie.
Yeah. Society has definitely been about nothing but oppressing fat people, for sure.
And, you know, like in all this bullshit, all this supposed science out there that shows obesity, quote unquote, to be quote unquote unhealthy. All a bunch of white lies.
Of course, yeah.
You ever hear of a fucking black person saying that? No.
Yeah, I actually have.
No, you haven't.
I've heard black people
Well, they
say
were brainwashed by the white establishment is why.
Okay, got it. They bought into the white lie.
Yeah, and I mean, look, this thing has, at the time of this screen cap, 3,094 fat fucks out there. We're like, yeah, that's right. What goddamn white people lying about us fatties. I'm fat. Paul's fat. We're fat.
Hey, speak for yourself, TJ.
Well, you know, I'm fat. Paul is actually...
I'm husky.
Yeah, he's a husky man.
I'm big-boned.
But, you know, as a fat person, I got to say, you know, I mean, I know it's not. I mean, it's not fucking healthy. It's not healthy to be fat.
Of course it isn't.
I mean, you know, do you really think, like, giant stores of fat all over your body, weighing it down, and then, I mean, like, just look at the fucking, like, this, especially if you're a dude, the fat really, like, gets in between the organs and shit and constricts things, you know?
It's horrible for you.
It's not great, you know, and it lowers your life expectancy. Like, did they make that up? Does
Yes.
it not really lower your life expectancy? Because I'm pretty sure it does. It wasn't white scientists that made that happen. Did they, like, how would they have done it? Did they have, like, a fucking magic death ray that they fire at fat people to make it seem as if fat is dangerous?
I mean, like, dude, to be a fat person, I kind of have to engage in this. I just don't need everybody else to engage in my delusion with me. Just do what fat people have done since time immemorial and go, nuh-uh.
I ain't that fat.
I ain't going to listen to that. I'm just going to keep on being fat because of reasons, because it ain't going to happen to me, you know? Like,
I'm invincible. It's all good.
Every fatty does that. I just don't require the rest of society to aid me in my delusion.
Yeah, validate my lie to myself. I fucking hate white people and I fucking hate men. God really set me up when he made me both.
Man, this is peak beta male shit here. Holy fuck. This is literally you back in the day whipping yourself saying, I'm sorry I'm white. I'm sorry I'm male. Yeah.
Sorry I'm white. Sorry I'm male.
I mean, and you know what this is, too.
Yeah.
This is pussy trolling.
Oh, yeah.
He's
This dude's like, you know, girls, I hate white dudes as much as you do.
This is pussy trolling for sure.
I'm different than the others. Please let me into that pussy. I'm begging you.
Man, I hope I never stoop this fucking low to get laid. I'm not saying I wouldn't, because, you know, but
you know.
I just hope I'm never forced to.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't come to that.
Holy shit, man. I fucking hate white people and I fucking hate men, and I am both of those things. I hate myself for just...
I hate myself for my skin tone and my fucking gender, dude.
Totally arbitrary parts of my fucking, you know, background that I have no control over.
Man, I just hate myself for it. I was eating sushi. I don't know if this one's real, honestly.
Right.
I was eating sushi with a fork and knife, and some white folks using chopsticks side-eyed me. I held my tongue. Sorry, I'm actually respectful of Asian culture. Sorry that I do not want to use that which is not mine to use. Oof. I hate when I think of these great comebacks after the fact.
So is this like a cultural appropriation argument?
Yes.
That chopsticks are only for people of Asian descent?
Yeah.
Whose cultures use them?
How are you? I mean, like, I'm kind of curious, like, why you're allowed to eat the sushi then.
I'm kind of curious as to why tons of Asian restaurants owned and operated by Asian people offer chopsticks to anybody who wants them.
Yeah, it's almost like they're not offended by it
It's
at
almost
all.
like they're just two pieces of wood and a shitty piece of tissue paper that I open up and then immediately regret I decided to use. You know what I mean?
I'm actually really good at chopsticks.
I've gotten better at them, but I
just had a natural, like, immediate sort of like, wow, I'm actually pretty good at this.
Yeah.
I don't know if my technique is right, but...
I'm okay with chopsticks, but I'd almost always rather have a fork and a knife and a spoon.
My fucking favorite part of... I mean, I actually eat sushi with my hands anyway, but my favorite fucking part of this tweet is... Oof, I hate when I think of these great comebacks after the fact. So this is this person's idea of a great comeback. Sorry, I'm actually respectful of Asian culture. Sorry that I do not want to use what isn't mine to use. Great comeback.
Yeah, snap.
Ooh.
I can almost guarantee you if these people side-eyed you, it had nothing to do with the fact that you weren't using chopsticks either.
Yeah, I don't think anyone gives a shit what you're doing. But people in Japan, I read, and I don't know if it's true, but I read it somewhere, that they don't use chopsticks to eat fucking sushi. They just eat it with their hands. So ever since I read that, I'm like, fuck it, I'm not using chopsticks either then. It's way more convenient to just grab this son of a bitch and throw it in my mouth. All right, so here's a little exchange here. My school is forcing me to take a diversity class, and I can't decide which anti-white male class to take. Top choices: politics of women of color, queer studies, African American perspectives. This is what I'm going into debt for. I think it's time to drop out. So then this woman says, I'm forwarding this to Kansas State University's Chief Officer of Diversity and Inclusion. I teach a diversity gen ed, and I would have appreciated a heads up when I had a white supremacist incel enroll in my class.
What?
The administration always knows how to handle these things.
Wow.
So both of these people kind of get a little bit of my ire.
Yeah, they both suck.
I mean, this first...
But the chick on the bottom is a tattletale, though.
I know, and she sucks. She definitely sucks worse. This guy sucks because, I mean, like, maybe I understand that there might be some of this anti-white male kind of rhetoric in these classes, but like to say that that's what the class is, you know, like that's not what the fucking class is. All right. And I agree that it's stupid that any of those classes are fucking mandatory.
Yeah.
But you know,
it's not just going to be constant.
I don't think I don't think it's an invalid thing to look at fucking, you know, the history of fucking queer people in America or around the world or whatever the fuck. I think it's a valid fucking thing to learn about.
Sure.
But then this chick is just like, so like instead of letting this guy go to the class and maybe learn something and maybe find like, you know what, that class actually wasn't so bad. It opened my eyes about a couple things.
No. Exclude him.
No. Nope. You shouldn't even be allowed to see the class. You're not even allowed to learn something.
Which
we're going to fucking prevent you from growing as a person. That's what my goal is as a teacher.
Why don't you just argue for the exemption of this being mandatory so that people like, you know, white supremacist
this
incel
horrible
guy
Nazi doesn't fucking attend.
They don't have to wander into your stupid fucking class. That's a great you know, faith you have in your ability of your class to change somebody's perspective and actually teach them something about reality.
And I just love how this tweet here is enough for him to be not only a Nazi but a white supremacist, but also an incel.
An incel too. She knows what kind of pussy this guy's getting or not getting based on this comment.
This guy's never, you know, I mean, we don't know
because no people with differing opinions ever get any pussy.
Can't wait till God wipes the plage that is white people off planet Earth. Let us start anew with our black kings and queens. It's about time, man. Let us start anew.
The plage.
I had to pull that one for plage. Of course, that's very white of me.
Yeah, that is white of you.
Expecting you to spell it the way I do just because I'm white or whatever. This chick, very proud of me. I love the fucking way that starts. Very proud of me for seeing one Star Wars movie, The Force Awakens, for the black stormtrooper hero and getting the fuck out once it became clear it was a bait and switch to get me to care about a brunette.
Man, you got nothing else in your life to be proud of?
Yeah, I love that. I love that not only is she like, man, this is bullshit. I only like black characters, but she's proud of that.
Yeah,
like I'm proud that I went to see this movie just for the black dude, and I'm proud that I got out of there as soon as I realized that it was actually about some white bitch. I'm done.
Yeah, well, good for you.
And finally, this is a great one. For all you boomers who struggle with new gender categories, here's a list of the ones you should already know. It really isn't that difficult. Followed by giant list of different things.
Triple column of, you know.
3 small type columns full of fucking gender identities or gender categories.
Beard face is one of them?
Beard face.
Whoa.
Are you a beard face?
I guess so. I didn't know.
By gender, yeah.
Ghost vulva? What the fuck?
Ghost vulva. That sounds like a children's cartoon in an alternate feminist universe.
What the fuck is a ghost vulva?
Ghost vulva, dude.
Tug bucket?
Some of these are definitely fucking just completely bullshit. Like derelict minge. Come on. That's not an identity, dude. I hope that's not a fucking identity.
I bet it is, dude. I bet it is.
I'm not happy. And that's Land of the Woke. So those are some of the people that you share the planet with. You know, so you could feel good about that, right?
Holy fuck. Somebody said that was a troll.
I'm sure that at least a couple.
It seems like it was a bit
couple
of a troll.
I mean, some of them I'm pretty sure were trolls, and some of them I'm on the fence about.
But you know, let's be honest. That list would only be maybe one column shorter if you took out the trolly ones.
Yeah. So,
boiled elf,
a
tabby cat, a ghost vulva, dude. I'm a beard face and a ghost vulva.
I think this list is satire. Yeah, you're probably right about that.
Wow.
As soon as I saw derelict minge, I was like, nah, pretty sure this is bullshit. But
ghost vulva, dude.
Ghost. The continuing adventures of Ghost Vulva.
I mean, all you have to do is come up with a paper-thin reason why that is your gender identity to make it real, though. So it's another one of those things where even if it was posted ironically, it's reflective enough of reality to remain relevant.
I agree with that. Speaking of mindlessly agreeing with things, Dave Rubin. I am no longer an atheist. And Jordan Peterson helped.
Oh, my God.
Of course he did.
For more debates, updates, and bonus content, sign up at thebigconversation.show.
All right, everybody go do that.
So I grew up in a conservative Jewish household in New York. We kept kosher. We did Shabbat on Friday nights, all the big holidays. But there was a strong secular belief within that. And as I was telling you sort of backstage, there's an interesting piece related to Judaism that I think is a little different than other religions in that the ethnic tie to it, at least in a modern way, is...
How long is it before he comes out as straight, too?
Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering.
For it.
Like,
turns out I wasn't gay.
Turns out I wasn't gay. This is my new big-tittied wife, everybody. Check it out. I was never actually gay.
Most Jews more important
Turns
than
out.
the religious nature of it specifically, let's say belief specifically, because John, as we were talking about, there are many, many Jews, especially in sciences and in mathematics, that aren't believers per se, but have a real cultural affinity. And I would say that sort of...
How'd you like to be in this audience, Paul?
It kind of makes me want to take a nap.
I know, right?
Maybe if I was real tired, this would be the audience to be in.
So next time you're feeling sleepy and you need something to help you sleep, just turn on this conversation.
Where I'm at, or at least where I've been over the last
dude sitting on the right looks like he's a nap that came to life. Look at him.
Look at the Asian people that just walk up to the front and then just like, never mind.
They're like, no, this is not for me.
Let's walk back. Let's just get out of here.
Jordan and I did
Enough
about
of this.
110 stops in one calendar year in about 20 countries. It was pretty amazing. And when you spend that kind of time listening to a true innovative thinker, I mean, truly the guy that I think is the world's most important public philosopher, let's say, talking about his biblical lectures and talking about his perspective on life, and that there has to be a bedrock of something that is real and true outside of us. And then how he relates that through the biblical stories.
Does there have to be, though?
Well, okay, so let's dissect that for a second. There has to be something real and true outside of us. Well, to me, that implies that there's some order of things or something out there that exists that we don't yet understand, and I can go with that. When I start to fucking hit the fucking brick wall is when you say that thing must be the God of the Judeo-Christian belief. Like, okay, wait a minute.
There's this great unknowable thing, and here's all its attributes. Right. It's like, all right.
Like, I'm fine with the idea. In fact, I believe it to be true that mankind, probably doesn't know a whole hell of a lot about what truth and reality really are. And we're limited by our perception and our own fucking intelligence. And I think that we've eked closer to some of those things. We certainly know more about the moon than our, ancestors 20,000 years ago did. So we're breaking into that truth. But yeah, to think that we know, I mean, think about I look at my news app, and every fucking day when I go through that, there's some pop science article about how, like, turns out dark matter is even weirder than we thought it. You know what I mean? We're constantly discovering the true order of things. But that doesn't, to me, leave room for you to shoehorn in a bunch of fucking Bronze Age tribal mythology. You know what I mean? Like, it's the god of fire on the mountain that did it. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And you know this. Like, you're an atheist, or you were for most of the fucking time that you've been a public figure. And you've espoused that atheistic perspective in a lot of your earlier work. So you already learned this lesson that it's not, you know what I mean, that saying that there are things that we don't understand in the universe is not a way to crowbar in a stupid, malevolent, jealous, angry, vengeful God that nobody can point to and say exists. So it's just kind of sad. Even though Dave Rubin is not somebody I respect entirely, it's always sad for me to see somebody take an intellectual step back into fantasy and this kind of stupid mythology because it's so easily refuted.
I mean, you have to question his sincerity anyway. I mean,
well, of course.
He's been so wishy-washy on so many things.
It moved me. It moved me over the course of the year that we did this together. So
I'm reminded of that scene from The Simpsons where Krusty was asked to explain his vote on a film festival panel for the worst movie. And it was Mr. Burns' movie, and Mr. Burns was bribing the judges. And Krusty was like, let's just say it moved me to a bigger house. You know? And it's like, when he talks about being moved, I'm just like, he wants that Christian money now, huh?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
He's already getting that conservative money. Might as well get that Christian identarian money too.
I would say I'm secular basically in my life, but I definitely in the last year have found that there has to be something outside of us. The rest of this makes no sense. I mean, the part.
So how does that take you to from no longer being an atheist though?
I'm secular 99.9% of the time, but there's this, there's
this thing outside of us. Okay, well, I mean, you could be an atheist and think there's this thing outside of us.
Right. It just doesn't.
You just don't jump to the weird conclusion that it's God.
Right.
Very briefly, the part that I'm really known for is the political part, and that I was a lefty, and the difference between leftism. You
kind of had a political conversion.
I had it right, so yeah. I'm usually much more comfortable talking about my political conversion than
you look horribly
one.
uncomfortable cozying up to the religious right here. It's
I'm
definitely
not
tough.
just not comfortable right now.
But I would say this.
Wow, look at that crowd of people sitting there watching this tepid, boring shit.
I know.
That consistent with me talking about sort of what's happened with the postmodern left, with the progressives, and we see this now where there's sort of nothing that's empirically true. And any given day, you can feel anything about any particular topic. There's a reason for that. And
wait, is this coming from the guy that literally changes his position every fucking 5 minutes?
Yeah, any given day you can be any fucking where on the scale on any issue, says the guy who used to be left and is now right, and used to be an atheist and is now a religious believer. Okay. All right, buddy.
Is they've disconnected everything. Their whole worldview is disconnected to anything that came before them. So that could be God or a religious set of ideas or something like that.
Does that make sense? That didn't make sense.
That made absolutely no sense.
What are you talking about?
There are plenty of people that are atheists and students of history that take into account historical precedent and stuff when they're building their worldview.
Yeah, I mean, like.
So is it only religious people now that have any reverence for what came before their time?
Yeah, I mean, like, atheists, they just don't even care about the past. Just everyone just lives, they're just totally about the now. Don't even care what happened before. That's just not true. It's just like, how many times, I hate when I watch some of these fucking people make their arguments, and it's just like so much of what comes out of their mouths is just flat out lies. And so all I can do is just sit here and be like, that's just not fucking true, bro.
It's about just existing in a worldview that's unimpeachable because of this idea of religious faith. It doesn't have to be explained rationally. And so you can just make any fucking contention that you want. And the contentions that he's making here about non-religious people being unaware of the past is just another one of those things that gets shoehorned in when you're a Christian. You get to paint anybody with any brush that you want because that's how you believe.
Really, really fascinated by that at the moment, and it's changing how I live my life. I just did, it was Yom Kippur, which is the holiest day in Judaism. I was at a service that was actually at a church in Pasadena in Los Angeles, hosted by Dennis Prager, that I'm sure many of you guys know about.
It's like the fucking moron squad.
Oh my God, man!
Dennis Prager and Dave Rubin and
I thought we were done with Dennis Prager for the show, but here's his name
Jordan
being invoked.
Peterson, and they're just all in a back room somewhere, sucking each other's anti-intellectual dicks. Ugh.
Dennis Prager, who many of you know. So I'm sort of I would say I'm in it the way you guys are all in it.
Well,
trying to find some truth in the madness.
I'll be interested to tease that out a little more in due course. I mean, one thing I
Oh
did
yeah, I'm
notice
sure
is
you will.
Tease it
I've seen
out.
just
Oh, yes.
Watching some of your videos, that there definitely been a progression in your.
So I'm after 3 minutes and 26 seconds of listening to him talk about why he's no longer an atheist, I got to say I really don't have a very clear idea of why that is.
Well, I tell you what, when you get these types of testimonials of people that say they weren't religious and they became religious, they all sound exactly the same way. It's always like I had some personal experience or I was exposed to some side of the argument that made me realize, there's got to be something else. Why? And why does it have to be this? Why did you come to this deep realization that, hey, I'm just a fucking ant on this planet and my perception is maybe like, less than 1,000th of a 10th of a % of what actual reality reflects? Why did it get filled in immediately with this stupid shit? Because you want to know about some awareness of history, Dave? The history of religion is filled with people that used that religion to justify fucking subjugating, persecuting, excluding, raping, pillaging, murdering, displacing countless thousands upon millions of people. What about that perspective? Does that part of history make you wonder if maybe you shouldn't fill this idea that there's more out there than what your perception shows with a bunch of stupid old myths about how you have to cut the fucking foreskin off your penis?
Thinking on this, and probably if you go back a few years, I think you had said along the lines of you probably thought of yourself as an atheist, but evidently that's not quite the case anymore.
Well, I had a bunch of atheists, high-profile atheists on the show in a row, starting with Sam Harris, who I admire, and he's a good friend of mine, and Michael Shermer and Peter Boghossian, and I really love the intellectual side of that. I really, really do love it. And that's not at the exclusion of anything else, actually. But what I found was that I had a series of atheists on in a row, and then people online just kept saying that I was an atheist.
Right.
And then I sort of just said it one day without...
Oh, it was just the whole thing was just a big misunderstanding.
Yeah, you just blurted it out. Like
Yeah,
I'm constantly doing that. I'm constantly espousing positions I don't actually hold accidentally.
Like
you know what I mean?
I was the other week. I was at the grocery store and I just sort of declared myself in the middle of the store. I'm like, by the way, everybody, I'm a monarchist.
Yeah.
I believe in we think we need a king.
I'm a third wave feminist.
Oh shit. Excuse me. Actually, ignore that.
That just slipped out of there.
A lot of people said I was a monarchist, so I just kind of went with it. But now that I think about it, no, I'm not a monarchist. Don't worry. Like, how does that work? You just kind of stumbled into like, I guess I'm an atheist, kind of. Nah, I'm really not. So his contention is not even like, I'm no longer an atheist. It's like, I was just kind of accidentally lumped in with atheists. I said it a couple times, but
Never mind all
really
the arguments that I agreed with, and never mind the fact that I've been living as an atheist. Never mind the fact that I'm a gay man married to another gay man. No. I was just kind of like going with the flow, you know what I mean? But now that it's becoming popular again for people to espouse a little bit of religion, because the right has moved that way. Now, no, I was always that.
Yeah, it was a little hiccup. Yes.
It didn't mean anything to me, sort of one way or another. It was almost
That's
sort of
because
came.
that's one of the great things about atheism. One of the things that I love about atheism is that it's just a statement on my position on the existence of a God. It has no meaning in my life. It doesn't guide my fucking decisions in any fucking way, other than my decision to not go to church.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not some central part of my life. There's no dogma. There's no ritual to it. It just is. It's just a position that I take.
It's really just about like, hey, this thing is not affecting my life because I don't believe in it.
And I don't have to sit in front of this British guy in this human nap and try and justify my personal experience and why that made me a Jew again. You know what I mean? It's simple.
It just sort of came out of my mouth one day. And then 2 years ago, I do this off-the-grid August thing where I literally lock my phone in a safe and I don't look at any news or television. I am completely offline and I really disappear and I try to let my brain reset. And
we expand that to the rest of the year too.
Can you just really disappear? Can you get to the point where you are so good at letting your mind disappear that the rest of you goes with it and doesn't come back, Dave Rubin? That'd be great.
2 years ago when I did it,
Dave Rubin, the accidental
sort of
atheist.
in my piece was that I'm not an atheist. And I came back and I said it in a very casual way.
So while you were sitting binging Netflix, your mind was just like, man, I'm just not really an atheist. Okay.
Where I just sort of said it very flippantly that I just don't like the word atheist. It doesn't fit what I believe. I do believe in something else, even if I can't completely articulate what it is. I think Jordan has gone along.
Oh, yeah,
That should bother you.
Yeah, I think it should.
That should really, really, really bother you as a person that has a brain that's clearly capable of thinking. That you espouse a belief that you can't articulate, you can't fucking argue for.
Yeah, I don't really know what it is that I believe, but I guess I kind of just vaguely believe in something. I don't know. I just believe it. Can't really tell you what it is, can't articulate it.
Or why you should, or why anybody should, or why I should, but man, it's there.
Long way to articulating the type of thing that I believe in. And I got a lot of hate for that one. Because, the atheists, they don't like a converted person either. So, you got to watch out for that too. So, we all have our own trappings, but what I'm most interested in is talking to people from all walks of life and figuring out what the common stuff is. And what I like to frame that around is a conversation about freedom and how do we limit government so we can all believe what we want to believe and think what we want to think and be part of a society
the most
that's
generic,
pluralistic and
easy to
decent
agree with position ever. That's great.
Right.
Maybe you should have that argument with Matt Walsh about porn. So let's go into some news here. Bernie Sanders retracts endorsement for Young Turks host Cenk Uygur. By the way, great picture of Cenk they got there.
Great picture of Bernie, too.
I know, right? You can just tell the love.
Yep.
The love radiates. You could say he's been burned. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
Wow.
Wow, even me as a purveyor and admirer of lame puns, that was a bit much, bro. Senator Bernie Sanders officially retracted his endorsement of Cenk Uygur just hours after offering it to him. Uygur, a liberal media commentator on his web show The Young Turks, is running to fill the congressional seat recently vacated by Rep. Katie Hill. The 2020 candidate faced immediate blowback for the endorsement given Uygur's long history of past homophobic and misogynistic blog posts. The blogs, which were deleted years ago, were first published by The Warp. At Cenk Uygur has been a long-time fighter against corruption. However, our movement is bigger than any one person. I hear my supporters who were frustrated and understand their concerns. Cenk today said he is rejecting all endorsements for his campaign, and I retract my endorsement. So Cenk basically got endorsements from a few key progressives, and then these news pieces started hitting at him, and I guess he gave them all an out by just saying, I reject all endorsements and stuff. So that gave Bernie and all these others the freedom to just be like, oh, we unendorse him now.
Anytime there's this kind of like social moral argument on either side, the idea is to try and deconvert people that have differing opinions than you. So like to take the racist bigot and turn him into somebody who realizes that there should be a sense of equality despite sexual preference or skin tone or whatever the fuck you want to say. And yet, when somebody like Cenk clearly goes through something like that, where in the past he said some shit that today would be construed as misogynist or homophobic, and he now repudiates those things, we pull support from him, even though he's exactly the type of person we should be looking for. Hearing Cenk say, I was once a person that espoused these kind of off-color fucking positions, and through my experience, I came to realize that I was wrong about those things. Like, why is that a bad thing? I saw Kyle Kulinski talking about this.
Yeah, he talked about a very, I don't know if are you talking about the New York Times thing?
Yeah, I'm talking about the This Is Why We Lose video that he made.
Oh, okay. He didn't mention that, but actually, he does have a tweet that he did recently that, but yeah, you go ahead and talk about that while I get that ready.
I'm just saying, it's absolutely true. This is why the left loses, because when somebody comes out having said some statement that they disagree with, rather than celebrating the fact that they were once ignorant and were elucidated on a position or made some moral growth on a position, they dump the person like a hot potato. Like, as far as I could tell, Cenk had some fucking momentum going into this.
Mm-hmm.
He could have been a fucking contender, and this kills his campaign. So what you're saying is because this dude used to have an opinion that you don't agree with anymore, and that he doesn't agree with anymore, by the way, that precludes him from pushing the very progressive ideas that he was championing that made you like him in the first place.
So, there was a thing here in the New York Times. A journalist called Jenny Medina did an outright smear against Cenk, where he said that Cenk Uygur said David Duke is, of course, not a bigot. And she was citing this interview here where Cenk is very much like pushing back against David Duke. And I'll show you what he was saying here. If it'll play, which doesn't seem to want to.
Play, you bastard.
I say that
you can't.
The Jewish organized
David, how can you think you're not anti-Semitic? How could you possibly think that? You think the Jews control the world? That's anti-Semitism 101.
I'll give you another quotation.
Kagan is on the Supreme Court, but so is Sotomayor, and she's definitely not Jewish. She's Latina. I mean, Kagan made it onto the Supreme Court, but so is Sotomayor. Those are two picks by Obama. Sotomayor, clearly not Jewish. In fact, what is it? I think 7 out of the 9 just.
So he's clearly pushing back against David Duke on
his bigotry,
on racism here.
Right.
This is how it was framed in the piece. Figures, including David Duke. In one clip that circulated on Twitter, Mr. Duke ends an interview by saying, "I am not what you call a racist." To which Mr. Uygur replies, "No, of course not."
You don't think he said that?
Oh, it was sarcasm.
Sarcastically?
It was complete sarcasm.
Oh, my God,
And it was demonstrably so because the entirety of the interview is Cenk pushing against David Duke's racism. And the New York Times is totally being the, quote, the fucking supposed paper of note that we're all supposed to take so seriously, just totally lied.
Scuttling a progressives campaign.
Right, because they're that fucking scared of these progressive candidates. They're that scared of like, oh, okay, well, we can't have this. We don't need this. We don't want any like actual leftists in there.
On that woke,
we want the corporate centrism.
The woke left segment of this political party too helps with it. They scuttle an actual progressive candidate over things that he said in the past and things that he never said in this instance.
Yeah. Or if he did say, he said it with the utmost sarcasm.
It's just ridiculous, man.
We'll take a listen to more of
Oh my God, the Catholics have taken over the Supreme Court. Watch out, David. Watch out. It's the Catholics that are the problem. But then you've got the Koch brothers who buy all these politicians. They're not Jewish. How does that fit into your conspiracy theory? So, I mean, you keep saying Goldman Sachs, but before Blankfein, the head of Goldman Sachs was Hank Paulson. Christian extraordinaire. The biggest political contributor in the country is not Sheldon Adelson. It is David and Charles Koch. They are enormously Christian. They're Christian. If you built everything, but somehow you don't have power anymore, you can't even get into the schools you built, why are you guys such losers?
Yeah, it definitely sounds like he was
he was
whistling right along with David Duke there.
Oh, David, you ain't racist at all, bro.
Just a total racist.
He was totally pushing back. They totally mischaracterized what that interview was.
But I got to tell you, and I got to be fucking completely honest with you, this is one of those things that I do not like about Bernie Sanders. This is him capitulating to a tiny minority in the party that wants to fucking judge everybody by every word they've ever spoken, despite fucking any growth that's happened between now and fucking 15, 20 years ago when he made those blog posts.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it when he does that, and he is known for bending the knee to that kind of fucking pressure.
Oh, yeah. I have to 100% agree. Like, it's just a total bitch move. Like, you should totally... Like, the Republicans would never do this shit. Republicans would never do this.
They don't. Fucking their presidential candidate was literally on a hot mic talking about how he likes to grab women by their pussies.
I just grab them by the fucking pussy.
And there were some of them that groused a little bit when that comment dropped. But in the end, guess what they all did? They got in lockstep behind their candidate, and they got their fucking candidate elected.
Locker room talk. That's all that was. Don't worry about that. Locker room talk.
It's just fucking crazy to me. It's so... I hate that Bernie Sanders does that type of shit.
Oh, God. So here, let's take a look at some of the shit he actually said here. So here's his apology, the stuff I wrote back then, blah, 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 blah. He doesn't want to say it. So If someone said that today, I would have heavily criticized them on the show, and rightly so, and I have. I've criticized myself over the years. I had not yet matured, and I was still a conservative who thought that stuff was politically incorrect, was edgy. When I read it now, it looks really honestly ugly, and it's very uncomfortable to read. So here's some stuff he said.
Okay.
It seems like there is a sea of tits here, and I am drinking in tiny droplets. I want to dive into the whole goddamn ocean, he wrote.
What's wrong with that?
Obviously, the genes of women are flawed. They are poorly designed creatures who do not want to have sex nearly as often as needed for the human race to get along peaceably and fruitfully.
Okay.
So, I mean, it goes a little whatever. But, like, the first part, you know, what's wrong with liking some titties, man?
Yeah.
Is it a crime to like titties now?
I mean,
I missed that memo. Fuck.
It obviously, to me, and I can't read the whole blog, but it just seems like a frustration post.
Right. It just seems like he was a little bit of an incel at the time. Like, God damn it.
It seems like, I mean, to me, it reads like something that could very well be with his tongue planted firmly in his fucking cheek here and just saying something off color.
In another entry, Rules of Dating, Uyghur described how fast physical intimacy should progress. Women ignore these at your peril, he wrote. Rule number 1, there must be some serious making out by the 3rd date. I mean, that seems pretty conservative. If I haven't felt your tits by then, things are not going to last much longer. He likes them titties, man.
He likes titties.
You know, I'm glad. I mean, if I hadn't read these old fucking entries here, I would never have known that he was so fond of the titty. In fact, if you don't get back on track by the 4th date, you're done. You're done. Rule 2, there must be an orgasm by the 5th date. I mean, you know, he's willing to take this bitch out on 5 dates before he even busts a nut. So, I mean, that seems
pretty fucking
I don't know,
middle
man.
of the road to me.
I feel like that's not that fucking extreme a position.
Not only that, but how does him having this position affect any woman? You know what I mean? Like, if
Right.
they don't want to give it up, then they don't give it up. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's not saying they should be forced.
I mean, like, yeah, he's not like, you know, all women should be forced to comply to this stand. Like, he's just talking about his own personal standard, if he's even being serious. I had the best nights of my life on Mardi Gras. I kissed over 23 different women, saw and felt countless breasts, and was in a wonderful drunken stupor thanks to my friend John Daniels, read the post. I don't know who John Daniels is. I think he meant Jack. But, or maybe is that like a combination of Johnny Walker and Jack Daniels?
Who knows?
But, I mean, that's Mardi Gras, man. I mean, like, we're supposed to be mad because he had a fucking good time during Mardi Gras.
Yes.
I guarantee you every one of those 23 different women was into what was going on because that's what they go there for.
I mean,
like,
if they weren't, there would be a fucking
right. Then it's
case.
bad. But I mean, like, it's a night of debauchery and sexual impropriety that happens. That's not fucking unusual for Mardi Gras. John Daniels is sometimes used for a nickname for Jack Daniels whiskey. Okay, I guess I got it. I don't know what the point is. Another 2004 described a road trip with Uyghur and Dave Kohler, now senior vice president of operations at Young Turks. The post was written in the style of a diary entry. At one point, Dave described chatting up some underage teenage girls he called whores in training. In one small Pennsylvania town, we stopped for gas, and while Jank filled up, I went to talk to these 3 girls who were walking down the road nearby. Turns out there were 3 teenage girls, whores in training, literally looking for boys to pick them up, he wrote. They were around 14 to 16, and in a few more years, they will be pretty damn good looking. I mean, it sounds to me like he's just describing something he encountered. Like, have you never seen a fucking slutty-looking fucking teenager? It's not like he's not sitting there saying, like, oh, yeah, I can't wait to fuck these bitches.
Yeah.
I mean, there might be a little undercurrent of that. It kind of flirts with that edgy line or whatever. But, I mean, I don't fucking see that as that. And that's not even what Jank is doing.
No.
Like, Jank's, even if this guy's statement is wrong, Jank's filling up the car as this is going on.
Yeah, he didn't even say this.
He didn't say it. This is some other dude's perspective that this dude has to answer for, if anybody does. Kala wrote in a way that was over-the-top satire and doesn't look good. Some of the stuff he did in there we didn't do. We did not proposition any. It doesn't even say you did in the fucking piece, though.
It's not even implied.
It's not even implied in the quote that happened. So I don't know why you feel the need to clarify that. I mean, this just seems like some edgy bullshit from the time.
I mean, I don't know, dude. In this political climate, I could see this.
Oh, it's over.
Oh yeah, it's completely over for him.
I mean, that's why you cannot. I don't think you can successfully go unless you're just someone who's super bland. I don't think you can successfully go from commentator offering up real fucking opinions that are actually entertaining to people to politician. Because the stuff that you can get away with as just some bullshit commentator who's out there trying to entertain people, you can't get away with when you're running for fucking office.
I mean,
unless you're Trump.
Right.
Then you can do it.
Well, yeah, unless you're on the other side of the aisle, which is once again kind of the thesis of fucking Kyle's video. This is why the left loses all the fucking time. Because we have this fucking purity test that literally in a day and age where like it was common practice for people to basically blog their entire hormone-fueled teenage and early 20s years to hold people accountable for, like, dude, I've said some hideous shit. You know what I mean? When I was young, I used to be way more openly homophobic and, you know what I mean? And I'm not like that anymore.
I mean, just go listen to a fucking early, like go listen to the Marshall Mathers LP or something.
Right.
You know, Eminem says shit on that you'd never hear any fucking mainstream artist saying today.
Right. And
you know, there's like a different, like, you're going to judge like a person, like the person has evolved since then. Society has evolved since then. You can't judge it by the standards of fucking today.
I mean, I guess all Bernie's donors should pull all his fucking shit because he wrote that bondage fantasy shit back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he doesn't hold up to this purity testing either, man.
Yeah. Jenk should be like, I unendorse Bernie too.
Yeah.
Because of his comments.
Let's just get rid of anybody that's ever held a stupid opinion at any point in their life. Because somehow growth and changing fucking political ideas is a bad word now.
Well, it's been a while since we've talked to the HIGHDEOLOGY chat, so we should probably go back and see how those guys are doing. How you doing, y'all? You feeling good? You feeling nice?
Somebody wants to see some real-time recent polls that we can pull up to see what the state of the race is. I don't know that much has changed.
It's pretty much the same.
It's pretty much Biden and
it's pretty much Biden,
Warren and Bernie.
Biden floating around 30, Bernie floating around 20,
Warren in there.
Warren around like 15.
Yeah,
it hasn't changed. The picture is basically the same as it's been for a while now. And it oscillates a little bit by poll to poll and all that stuff, but that seems to be the general picture.
Yep.
So not much has changed on that front. If there's a big fucking change, you know, we'll definitely take a look at it. Just flew home from Christmas or for Christmas. Sad I missed 2 hours of the stream. Well, you know, at least you caught some of it. Some people won't catch any of this. They'll just see it tomorrow and be like, fuck, I missed it.
But at least they still get to go watch it though. Just
right.
go watch it.
Yeah, you can still watch it.
Just go watch it.
And you got your comment read, so there you go.
What's the difference between a gay dude and a superhero? The gay dude only flies in one direction.
I must be stupid because I'm not getting.
I don't think you're stupid. I think the person that made I think the joke is stupid. Yes.
Okay. You want a gay joke? I'll give you a gay joke.
Okay, give me a gay joke.
Bunch of gay dudes. I might have told you this before. A bunch of gay dudes in a hot tub, right? All of a sudden, a condom floats to the surface of the hot tub. And one of the gay dudes is like, all right, who farted?
Okay.
So there you go.
Got it.
There's a gay joke for
Got
you.
it, because he's got a condom in his ass.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I get it.
There you go. I actually heard that from Gilbert Gottfried. Jenk asked Bernie to take his endorsement back so Bernie didn't get smeared over it. You know, Bernie's gonna get smeared no matter what. So just have some balls. Take this. This is a page that definitely needs to be pulled out of Trump's playbook, man.
Oh yeah.
Pull a page out.
Bernie would have infinitely more respect for me if he would have made a tweet like, "I don't hold people completely accountable to statements that they made 20 years ago that they've repudiated now. I support progressive candidates. That's why I remain a supporter and an endorser of fucking Cenk Uygur." Like, that to me would be taking a political stand that makes fucking sense. Because you comb through everything Bernie's ever said, I guarantee you're going to find some crazy fucking shit. He just grew up at a time when he was in his fucking teens and 20s where you didn't blog your every hormone-filled fucking fantasy. You know what I mean? And the fact that he was a victim of this same type of shit. Some fucking paper he wrote or some fucking journal entry that he wrote popped up.
Change up the look of DFF a little bit, tiny little bit. Oh, we're gonna probably be changing it more than a little bit very soon here.
Yeah, you guys will see a new look soon.
So we're definitely I know we've been talking like we actually a number of weeks back did a really rough week of like constant shoots to buy ourselves some time to make some changes, and unfortunately we had some delays. You might have noticed that you haven't seen Zandalar cryptoduceus around here for a while, so there's been some issues with that kind of shit. So things got a little bit on the delayed side, but hopefully we're getting it back on track tomorrow. So you're going to be seeing some big changes here real fucking quick. I don't know how big they're going to be because we're not exactly 100% sure what we're going to be doing, but trust me when I say it's going to be probably a few rungs above what's going on now. I mean, I agree with you on the jank remarks, but there's the bestiality comments that are just too nah.
He said something about bestiality?
I guess. I didn't see that one. But like I said, you're a commentator. You see all kinds of shit.
Yeah, things were edgier back in the early 2000s.
I mean, like you're once again probably taking something that was acceptably edgy at one point that is no longer acceptable and trying to extrapolate some shit from that. So, I mean, I'm 90% sure that's what's happening there.
My girlfriend wants to spend $53 on chakra crystals to treat her anxiety and doesn't want real medicine. Should I just try and work through this, or is that grounds for a breakup? Am I just being dramatic? That's for you to decide, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why you're bringing our sensibility. I mean, I don't know your girlfriend. I don't know your relationship with your girlfriend.
Yeah.
As an Arab, I get the flying gay dude joke.
Okay.
All right. Rock on.
Well, as a non-Arab, I don't.
I guess not. Jank also fired employees for accusations and past remarks. He has contributed to cancel culture. I mean, that may well be. I mean, I obviously have criticism. I mean, we did when we were in the DP days, we did a whole fucking show about the Young Turks and the problems with their show and shit.
Right. I'm not huge.
I mean, I'm not a huge Cenk Uygur fan, and I'm not in his fucking district, so it's no real sweat off my balls whether he wins or not. But that doesn't change the fact that these are fucking blatant, obvious smears, and it doesn't change the fact that, you're kind of a pussy for backing down, supporting him when he's clearly way more on the progressive side than who he's running against.
What happened to closing ranks and getting your fucking people elected so that you had a fucking, you had a platform that you could try and roll out for people? I don't know.
He said 2 or 3 times bestiality should be legal if you're the one giving pleasure, and that was on the TYT show, not in some 20-year-old blog. Yeah, but I mean, that TYT show's been around forever.
Yeah, I don't care.
And not only that, but like I don't know the context of that. I have not seen those clips. So
I don't care. I don't think that honestly, I don't think that even if he did make and I haven't seen those fucking comments, so it's possible that he never made anything like that. But even if he did, I don't see a wave of dog and cat fucking ensuing because Cenk Uygur got elected.
Yeah, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna be like, all right, now District 25 is the bestiality capital of the world?
Yeah. If you want to get married, you have to fuck a dog first. It's ridiculous.
It wasn't long ago, but I don't know what the conversation was before he said if he were dictator, he'd make bestiality legal.
Right.
I mean, like, it's a ridiculous fucking statement. Come on.
So it's a nebulous comment that nobody has any context for that I'm supposed to clutch my skirt about.
Dictatorship got brought into this, and I don't know, man. I mean, whatever. Judge for yourself, I guess, whether you want to vote based on... I mean, like, you can obviously judge him as a candidate, but there's clearly some things... There's clearly been some molehills that have been made into mountains on this one.
Yeah.
I feel like Bernie would lose votes from the woke crowd if he continued to endorse Cenk.
Good.
Who cares?
Stand up to them so that they stop exerting stupid purity test control over every decent
How many
candidate
fucking times does that crowd of people have to be revealed as a fucking complete paper tiger? Like, how many times do you have to be shown that Twitter and reality are not fucking...
I mean, we talk
they're not
about
in
that.
sync.
We talk about
I
how
mean,
that
just look at-
perspective is ultra magnified on social media.
I mean, just look no further than the recent UK elections where everybody on Twitter, Labour, 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 Corbyn, 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 Labour, Labour, Corbyn, Corbyn.
And then
They fucking suffered a historic defeat. Historic defeat. Worst defeat since the 30s. Despite all the fucking snowflake crowd being on Corbyn's corner. So they ain't worth much. Focus on fucking economic policy. Focus on populism. No one cares about this politically correct garbage except for a select few handful of people. And just don't worry about them. Let them go vote for fucking Elizabeth Warren or somebody that's willing to kiss their ass.
Yep. I got summoned for jury duty the other day. Have you guys done it?
I've always been able to get out of it.
I sat on one jury. I sat on a jury for 6.5 months. This was back in like 2015, 2016, around then.
Yeah.
And
I was always able to make, because there's an argument you can make that, like, look, I'm the sole breadwinner of my household or whatever the fuck, and I can't possibly.
I kind of wanted to be on the jury, honestly. So I didn't argue that as hard, and I wasn't the sole breadwinner in my household. So, and I happened to work for the fucking government at that time, who are, they obviously make extra accommodations for people that are on juries. So I wanted to experience it, and it was definitely an enlightening thing. I'm glad I did it because any misapprehensions that I had about the justice system working were thrown right out the fucking door.
Yeah, you're like, oh, this is absolute trash.
I was able to see exactly how broken that system was. What was the verdict? It was eventually settled, and I wasn't even on the jury by the time it settled.
So you left the jury before the case even
Yeah, I had
finished.
one hardship plea that I made at the very beginning, which was that I was going back to college.
Right.
And
so you're like, I have to be done with this by the time my college starts.
And it was like 6.5 months into the future, and they had told us, oh no, this is going to be 3 weeks at maximum.
And it was still
and
going
6
after
months
6
later,
months.
we were still all meeting 4 days a week. So, but it was an insane experience. Like I said, I'm glad I did it, but I don't know if I'd recommend it to you unless you're really interested in that.
So then, why do you use Twitter? Good question.
I don't know. You got to dip your toe in the shit every once in a while,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that. I mean, like, obviously, Twitter reflects some fucking people, but don't make the mistake of thinking that everybody is. Like, there's an overabundance of a certain type of fucking person on Twitter.
Yeah. What was the trial over? It was a weird one. So there were multiple reasons why I probably shouldn't have been on that jury. So it was a lawsuit actually involving the school district that I worked for, and a principal was suing the school district for wrongful termination, and he was alleging it was based on racial grounds. And he was a black guy that was a principal that was fired for what the school district said was incompetence, and what he said was
racism.
My uncle was on a jury, and he stood up and said, "I'm a felon. Everybody here is innocent." They kicked him off jury duty. Okay. Let me tell you something. All of these, here's the one thing you can say to beat jury duty things, that's another thing that I learned is bullshit. If they want you on the jury, your ass is going to be on the fucking jury, no matter what hardship plea you make.
Mm-hmm.
They usually call enough people to grant most of the hardship pleas. But if it comes down to brass tacks and both sides think you're a decent juror, you're sitting on the jury. There's no magical thing you can say to the judge that's going to let him let you out of it once you're called in.
You know how my uncle got out of jury duty? He did end up on a different jury, but he was there was some case, and he was asked on the stand, would you give more weight to the testimony of a police officer? And he's like, no, I give less.
Yeah.
I don't trust him.
Well, I mean, there's a reason why during voir dire they ask those types of questions, because one side or the other wants to exclude that very fucking opinion.
Right.
So, and he was telling the truth too, I assume, having met your uncle.
Yeah, he was telling the truth.
So,
no,
yeah.
He was definitely telling the truth. He was not, it wasn't something, he wasn't just saying that to get out of jury duty. He believes that.
I'm telling you, the experience was mostly boredom. I'd watched so many of these court movies where it's just like this big, brisk moving process that's constantly, argument, counter argument. It was a slog. And most of the time that I spent on quote unquote jury duty, I was in the jury room waiting for the judge and the two lawyers to be ready for the jury to come back in as they argued over motions and argued over, evidence entry and all that shit.
By the way,
most of that time I just was sitting on my ass.
The trial that my uncle eventually did wind up on was a dude who went to a bar, got drunk, and he was on the second floor, and he tried to jump from the balcony of the bar to the parking lot to go get his car, and he fucking broke his leg in the jump.
And he was suing.
And he was suing the bar. And my uncle was the only reason that the motherfucker didn't get his money, because all the other 11 on the jury were like, yeah, he deserves it. My uncle's like, no.
Right.
Fuck that moron. So it's a good thing he got on that jury, because he stopped a moron from getting paid for being stupid. Anyway, speaking of stupid, let's take a look at another one of these pieces of shit. This is from MTV. This is MTV's Decoded.
Let's see it.
If microaggressions happen to white people. That's what we're looking at now.
All right.
So you're not good at golf, but you're white.
Decoded.
People of color have to deal with racial microaggressions every single day. So microaggressions are those little unintentional insults that basically see people of color as stereotypes, which got me thinking, what if white people had to deal with racial microaggressions?
So where are you from?
No, where are you really from?
Why do you have an accent? Like a Swedish accent.
Your English is really, really good. It's like I can't even tell you have an accent or anything.
I don't have an accent.
No, that's what I'm saying.
You don't speak Gaelic?
You don't speak German?
Can you say a curse word in European?
What does that even mean?
Hey, Connor, you know about NASCAR stuff, right? Can you take a look at this?
Can you teach me how to line dance?
Play the banjo?
Act entitled in the supermarket.
I love white food. No real flavor to it. Never an upset tummy.
So it's come to this.
I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. Oh my fucking
So what
God.
I mean, like, what if the world was like this, huh?
I got to be honest with you. It may not be these misconceptions, but the world, there are tons of misconceptions in non-white racial groups about white people and how they. I mean, black comedians have made those misconceptions the basis of their.
I am a white person.
Right. Oh, well, hello there. I'm Joe Smith, and this is my wife, Barbara. You know what I mean? You've heard that a million times because guess what? Different racial groups have different ideas about how different stereotypical ideas about what the experience of those racial groups are.
Dude, I've encountered it just from being tall, too.
Oh, yeah. Or being fat.
Yeah. Like, people be like, oh, how'd you get so tall? It was like a process or something that I went through.
Aren't you worried about heart disease? You know what I mean? It just happens. It's just one of the things. Stupid people are things you have to put up with. There's no way to teach stupid people to not be stupid. You just have to learn to weather the storm.
Right. I mean, and the stupid people of every race saying, unintentionally, insensitive things because they just don't have any filter or decorum or even understanding that they're being offensive to you or anything like that, or annoying or whatever the fuck. And you mean, it's not like this is not a thing that white people go do. I've never done any of this shit. I've never fucking said to an Asian person oh wow, you barely have any accent at all or some shit.
Right.
Maybe if I know for a fact they're from China or something, actually from the country. But, I don't know. It's just fucking
microaggressions.
Let's absorb a few more of these.
So exotic.
How do you get your hair like that? I love how it's so limp. Ew, why does it feel like that? Oh my God. So it just does that?
I have literally never once in my life even seen somebody grab a black person by the hair and do the fucking. I'm sure it happened at some point when these communities were more traditionally segregated. But in my lifetime, I've literally never seen somebody go oh, your hair is so How does it work?
I touched a black person's hair to see what it felt like as a kid one time.
As a child?
As a child.
Right.
As a kid, there was another kid at our school that was black, and it was like really weird because it was a super white fucking school. And, it was like, as a retarded little fucking 7 or 8 year old, I did that.
Right.
But not as
an
an
grown
adult.
person.
I've never seen anyone do that. I've never seen a person fucking do it. I'm not saying it never happens. I wouldn't know. Probably if you're black, you're more aware of it as an issue and what its prevalence is, but I ain't seen it. I don't do it. You don't need to tell me not to touch other people's hair.
No, you are really pretty for a white girl.
Your eyes are so round. Like they.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a fucking minute. Okay. So first of all, that's funny. Second of all, I have never fucking, no one just in casual conversation, no one just hey, oh wow, hey Asian person, oh,
Why are your eyes so chinky?
Look at the eyeball.
Chinky, chinky, ching, 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 ching.
Like, if you do that, you are intentionally being offensive. There's no ha ha ha, your eyes are slanty.
Yeah.
Like, when does that happen?
Nobody is saying that and doesn't know that they're being offensive.
Right, so that's not a microaggression at that point. If someone's doing that, they're just being overtly, racist or insensitive or whatever the fuck.
Right.
So this is not there's no analog here, okay? This is not analogous to a reverse of this situation. And by the way, if you did do that, this bitch would be if this is an office setting. If there's a white person and they're talking to an Asian fucking coworker or customer and goes, they are fired.
Yeah.
You are gone. Clear out your desk, motherfucker.
Yep.
That's what happens. So we're going to see that part where she gets fired for doing this?
No.
Yes. You know who you look like? Kenny Chesney. Zach Braff.
Emma Stone.
You know what's funny about that? You know what's funny about this shit? I fucking, I go to a Walmart around here, and there's a fucking black cashier there that every time she fucking sees me, compares me to fucking Kenny Loggins, I think. It's like, oh, it's my boy Kenny Loggins. Maybe it won't happen now that my hair is short. I also try not to even go to the store anymore.
She's chased you out of it due to the microaggressions she's thrown at you.
So I get compared, and I don't look like Kenny Loggins. I mean, there's when I had long hair, there was the superficial, we both had long hair and beards. That's it. And we're white. So, yeah, I was microaggressed against. And you know what? It was a minor fucking inconvenience.
It's a minor inconvenience that caused you to not go to that store ever again, TJ. You just agreed with this video.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
Because she didn't run me off the store. What ran me off the store is the entire store experience and the realization that we now have Instacart here. Because before I thought that we were too backwoods to even have that, but as soon as I realized we did, I pretty much stopped going to the store.
Yeah.
Unless
I don't blame you.
There was some immediate need to do it. And I'm willing to pay a little bit more to not have to fucking deal with the experience.
It's really not that much more. It's like $10.
I guess I was Kenny Rogers. She said I was, not Loggins.
Kenny Rogers.
Whatever. I get them confused. Kenny Loggins, Kenny Rogers. They're all the same. All them white people look the fucking same to me.
Rachel Maddow.
My friend Chad. Maybe you know him because he's white too.
No, Emma Watson.
Not Macklemore. What's the other guy?
No, is it Emma Thompson?
It's C-H.
Once again, this is just stupid people. You can't fix stupid.
There's always going to be stupid.
Yeah,
people.
You're never going to fucking be like, oh, we've solved the stupidness problem. So whatever.
Kenny Rogers, yeah.
Yeah.
Not Loggins.
Know when to hold 'em. Know when to fold 'em. Know when to walk away. Know when to run. Oh, fuck you, man. Why go when you can not deal with people? Oh, fuck yeah, man. I thought you were saying fuck yeah.
Fuck you.
Fuck you, man. I get told I look at Al Pacino when he was in The Godfather by my black friends. Let me guess, you don't look a fucking thing like him, right? I think it's because every time, I admit it, if I see a black dude and he's bald or something, my mind is kind of looks like Samuel Jackson.
All black dudes look like Denzel Washington to me. Oh, look, it's Samuel.
But I know I've compensated because I'm not an idiot. I'm like, that's just because I'm not black. So that's the only reason I see that. That person probably does not look as much like that other person as I think they do.
Well, yeah, of course, when you have that thought in your head, you immediately run up to that dude and go, "You look like Samuel L. Jackson." Right. What's up, Samuel L. Jackson?
Whoa, it's Nick Fury, man. Cool.
I get told I look like Al Pacino when he was in The Godfather by my black friends. Cool. Lucky bastard. Al Pacino was pretty fucking awesome.
All right, now everyone's getting talking about who they look
yeah,
like.
this is who I get told I look like. This is who I get told I look like. I get told I look like every fat white guy
Paul,
with a beard.
I think you get told you look like such and such more than any other person I've ever known in my life.
Constant.
Because it's like almost every week there's a subreddit thread about who you look like all of a sudden. And even I do it to you because like it'll strike me sometimes. You know who you look like, Paul?
This fat bearded guy. He doesn't even have to be a fat guy. It's just like this guy with a beard.
Yeah, dude, there was, like the one that was like, that really fucking drove it home to me was when they were like, Paul looks like Kratos.
Yeah, the new Kratos had a beard, and I was like, what?
He's a giant, muscle-bound, fucking mutant freak.
I'm the opposite of Kratos.
Like, you could not be less like Kratos if you fucking tried. But somehow,
John Goodman. Yeah, I got that one a lot too. John Goodman. I don't see it.
John Goodman fat, Paul fat.
People tell me I sound like people too. Like I had earlier on in my channel, like back in the 2008 days, people were like, there was this huge movement in the chat that I sounded like, and I fucking tell me where this came from. Tell me if there's any fucking resemblance that I looked like John, or that I sounded like John Malkovich. I heard it over and over and over back in the day. And I was like, what?
Do you know what was weird for me? And I never got it. I look nothing like him. But multiple people, not recently, not in a long time. Maybe it was something with my camera at the time. But in my early days, like the garage days, it wasn't constant, but at least on like 6 or 7 occasions, people were like, you look like Brent Spiner. I look nothing like fucking Brent Spiner.
I don't see it, dude.
I look 0 fucking % like Brent Spiner. I look goddamn nothing like him. Not even a little bit. Now, it doesn't happen anymore, so I'm assuming it was like maybe a low-quality camera kind of thing. Maybe there was some kind of fucking angle or some shit.
More than likely, you were just dealing with a stupid person.
Yeah, but I mean, it was multiple people.
A grip of stupid people. Then.
Yeah, like a few dumbasses.
I'm PS1 Hagrid, yeah.
I can see it. You're very polygony.
Polygon.
Polygon. You have such a punnable name, Paul.
I know.
I don't know if that's lucky or
it's unlucky. Trust
I think
me.
I would feel if it was lucky if it was me.
No,
maybe not.
You'd be sick of it in a week.
TJ with long hair and facial hair looks like a Confederate cavalry officer.
Nice.
I definitely have gone through some Civil War general looks here and there.
Yeah, you had a Kentucky Fried mustache and goatee combo for a while.
Paul looks like Dwayne The Rock Johnson, man.
Sick.
Absolutely. All right. Enough of you guys. Let's go back to the fray. This is runner accused of groping reporter during live TV broadcast charged with sexual battery. Okay.
He groped a reporter as he was walking by?
As he was jogging by, grabbed her ass.
He gave her a goose?
Yep. Oh, we got to watch an ad,
Naysayers said no one would subscribe to a car the way they subscribe to movies.
That's wonderful. The way they subscribe to what now? No, go away. Go away. Car I can subscribe. Go away. Get out of here. Get out of here. Go away, Volvo. I don't want you.
I want to see this guy grab an ass.
Yeah, there he was. All right, so.
There he is. Goose.
See if I can get the. Oh, there's no. Oh, I turned it. Did I turn it off? No, I guess it's not doing it. Whatever.
Alex Bozargian carried on reporting from Savannah, Georgia. Tonight, that jogger, 43-year-old Thomas Calloway, is facing a sexual battery charge and is out on bail. His attorney saying Calloway...
It's like the Energizer Bunny, man. Sexual battery. It keeps going and groping and groping.
I want to know.
Still
did
groping.
Did he pinch? Did he slap? I mean, what on here?
My
What's the actual?
My understanding was a grope. So basically, it was.
So he just felt up her ass as he ran by.
Now, obviously, it wasn't a very long grope because he doesn't stay long, but it was like a slap grope, I guess.
Got it.
Calloway
Slapping a
deeply
grope.
regrets the situation. Calloway admitting he touched her in an interview with NBC affiliate WSAV.
Alex, I'm sorry. I did not mean to do this. Yes, I touched her. I did not know where I touched her because I just kept running.
Okay. So, bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, the look on your face in these images completely and utterly undermines that attempted explanation.
Dude, just don't even.
You look like a guy that's about to get a handful of a nice ass.
Yeah, I mean, like, anyone who sees the video, like, there's just, like, you know where her ass is, all right? I mean, like, you maybe, if you just, like, blasted past her or something, you know, and it was just like, you know, no. I mean, like, you fucking were not running at lightning speed where you couldn't. It was just a blur, and I didn't know what I touched.
No, nor do I buy this, like, momentary lapse of not knowing that I'm going to grab an ass when you literally, like, maneuvered yourself into position to do it. Come on, buddy.
And we see what you did, man.
Bozargian saying she was hurt physically and emotionally, telling CBS this morning.
Maybe emotionally. I don't think you were hurt physically.
And, you know, he hit me hard. The reason why.
Did he? All right, let's take a look.
Maybe it caught so much fire is because
I mean, her body didn't.
Yeah.
Move. If he hit her real hard,
I gotta
she
call
would've
bullshit
stumbled
on
forward.
that. I mean, I understand the position she's in. This is her chance to move up that social ladder and stuff. So
right. She's
She's got every incentive as in her profession to milk this for all it's worth. But no, he did not slap you that hard.
I mean, but you know,
you would have been like,
yeah,
especially
she's definitely overplaying her hand here. But let's make no bones about it.
Right.
You shouldn't do this shit.
Oh no,
nobody
obviously
should
not.
be grabbing anybody's ass or anything about anybody.
No,
don't touch anybody.
Don't touch anyone
Don't
ever.
walk up
under
and
any
grab
circumstances.
anything on anyone.
Don't do it unless it's Mardi Gras. Then it's fine.
Right.
the emotion is extremely relatable for women all over the world.
In a police report, Bozargian described the incident as a smack and grab, declining further comment due to the criminal investigation.
That's a
smack
dad
and grab.
Face. Look at that face.
That is a face of a man who knows exactly what he's grabbing.
Yep, he knows what he know. You know where your hand landed. You aimed it right for that ass. You know you did.
That is an ass grab face.
That is. I never make that face unless I'm about to inappropriately grab an ass.
Absolutely. You know, and I just want to say, I shouldn't even say this, but I'm going to do it anyway. You know, a lot of people, I did see people asking, like, you know, hope it was worth it. Hope it was worth it. And I got to say, I doubt it was. Because I know, look, I have an eyeball. I can look at a woman's face and know exactly how big her ass is, and it wasn't worth it.
I mean, I don't know, dude. I don't know.
See, if it was like this.
Oh, well, yeah.
Let me be very clear about what I'm saying here. It would still be wrong.
Yes.
He should still be punished. But at least, you know,
it would be
a little more bang for that buck.
Right.
If you're going to grope an ass.
That'd be worth copping a sexual battery felony for?
No. I'm not saying it's worth it. Just saying, you know, if you're going to do it, go for the creme de la creme, man.
These fucking pants these days. Jesus Christ, these yoga pants.
See, I'm doing the face. I just did like. I'm doing the face he was doing right before he grabbed that ass. I didn't even intend to. I just caught myself doing it. So, yeah, man, you knew what you were doing. You knew the ass you were grabbing.
Good Lord.
I don't buy that. This, like, you got to walk a fine line with this. I guess I could just go all in and be like, this is guy's the worst ever and all this shit. But, you know, this bitch was not traumatized by this. No one is fucking traumatized by a momentary ass grab. If anything, people are like, oh, this might hurt her career. This ain't going to hurt nothing.
No, this has done nothing
Her
but help
star
her career.
is ascending at that point.
Yep.
This is no longer like, oh, no one will take you seriously now. No, this is like how you get taken ultra seriously now. So he, what's his, he could, blah, 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 blah. They talk about his consequences somewhere in this article.
Yeah, what's he facing for the?
I'm trying to figure that out.
Pinch.
Sexual battery, blah 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 blah. She's pursuing charges. Okay. Statement early Saturday been retweeted with more than 200,000 times, 735,000 likes. Oh yeah, this is really hurting her. Callaway has been banned from all future races. Completely reasonable to do.
Yeah, if you're an ass grabber, you don't get to be. You don't get
to be in the race. He told the WSAV he's sorry. We already watched that. He claimed to WSAV that as he approached her, he saw people passing the reporter waving hands and planned on doing the same, and then he knew he had touched her, but he did not know where as he ran past. He also said he wanted to tap her on the shoulder or the back. Well, you missed the shoulder by a pretty wide.
Yeah,
like
there's a
ass
good,
and shoulder. There's a good distance between those two.
There's a good 2 feet there.
Yeah, you missed that target by quite a little bit. Yeah, I could have swore I read in one of these articles that he was facing some kind of potential fine and up to like a year in jail and shit.
I don't think he should. I mean, if he's a serial ass grabber, then jail
I mean,
might need to come into it. But
yeah, I don't know if a first ass grab offense,
like a good fine and a banning from the race, is probably what this guy.
Yeah,
needs.
I mean, especially when we were talking about like it's not like, I mean, like if he'd fucking like pressed her up against a wall and was like juggling them ass cheeks, then
dry humping her or something.
Right.
There's definitely gradients.
We're gonna get in trouble for even having this nuance on this, but whatever.
I mean, we said unequivocally, don't do this.
Right, don't do this. This is wrong. He deserves to be punished.
Not even on an ass like that.
Yeah, don't even. Even the finest ass in the world deserves to be unmolested by you and your fucking bullshit. Let's go back to Highdeology for a second, then we'll probably close with looking at this little
Noam
Chomsky clip.
Papa Noam.
Well, maybe we'll watch the Noam Chomsky. Let's see.
Let's just watch the Noam Chomsky. Let's cleanse our palates of the booty grab, and then we'll,
So there's a few things left here we could play. I'm gonna just maybe avoid that one because I found out there's sex doll unboxed. It's so funny though. And it does discuss Paul, so that's also a plus.
Yeah, I guess.
All right, I got 3 things we got to look at when we get back from this little chat here with the chat.
All right,
and then we'll be done. But they're pretty short. They shouldn't take very long. One's just a trailer. One's a 3-minute Noam Chomsky clip.
I love how Noam Chomsky is looking more and more like a gnome every day.
Yeah, you should just change the spelling, man.
Yep. Put a G in there.
Go all the way. But let's have a little chat with the chat first. See how everybody's doing out there.
He was a youth pastor. Ooh. Whoops. It's almost like Christians are the opposite of the moral purists they pretend to be.
Yeah. Maybe that guy, it's like the Matt Walsh effect or something. She will miss that ass grab in her 60s.
Probably not.
I don't think she's going to be like wistful for the ass grab.
I remember when people used to.
She might be wistful about the time that she had an ass that people wanted to grab.
Well, you contended that just looking at her, she doesn't.
She doesn't. No.
She doesn't have a grabbable ass.
But
I don't know if I'm willing to make that.
Sometimes, though, I will admit, it's not a 100% accurate thing. Because there are some women out there who just have slender faces, slender bodies, and then inexplicably
giant ass.
Not necessarily giant in the sense of like, because they don't have the big hips or anything, but there are some women who just have the bubble butt of just like,
right,
where it just juts the fuck out of nowhere with no fucking explanation other than maybe there is a God. But don't grab them. Don't grab them. I've said it 1,000 times, so I can't be held liable for anything you do. 9 Inch Nails or Manson, you know where I fucking stand.
I mean, I probably stand on the same place you do now, just looking at Manson's whole catalog versus the 9 Inch Nails catalog that I find to be actually listenable.
Yeah,
I mean, I probably preferred 9 Inch Nails at the time that they were both really popular and shit, but looking
at
Manson's
held up a little better.
Looking at the whole career, yeah. I think Manson's still making decent music.
Dude, it's so mean to someone I admire so much, but I do sometimes find myself having the urge to get a bunch of Manson live, performances of the same song over the years and like cut them together so that you can see the decline.
I think he would appreciate it.
You know what I mean?
I don't think Manson would be offended by such a thing.
You don't think he'd be offended?
No.
Because I'm not even saying, like, I still think his concerts are worth going to and shit, and I still think that he fucking looks and sounds pretty good, especially given his advanced age and lifestyle. But, you know, like, it's just crazy to watch, like, some of those 90s performances and the insane fucking energy, and then watch, like, a modern performance, and he's just, like, shambling, you know? I mean, you can say the same about Ozzy, though. Like, Ozzy's just the next level of it, where he's just, like, he stands in place and kind of just looks like kind of like a sad old man. I just kind of sometimes wish that he'd just sit down. You know what I mean?
I think we were talking about that when we covered Ozzy. That
yeah,
they're
sit down,
eventually
Ozzy. Take a load off, man.
Yeah, just get him a big throne that flies around the stage with wires. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and just have him sit in the throne as he sings and shit. You know?
I mean, he might do it. He might get to the point.
Have people do shit around it. Manson did it when he broke his fucking foot. He got himself like a crazy wheelchair and just fucking like sang in a wheelchair for a while.
There you go.
He's like, fuck it, I'll do it, whatever.
You gotta respect
it.
it.
Giant gothed out wheelchair and shit. Maybe he should have just stuck with it. Been like, yeah, I'm in a wheelchair now. I'm crippled Manson. Don't judge me. He could fucking be like, play up the disabled thing and shit, you know?
Yeah, it could work.
Same thing with Maynard from Tool. Well, that guy's always hidden in the shadows at concerts. Like, he doesn't do the typical frontman thing. How do you guys feel about Trent Reznor's film scores? I thought he did good for the Social Network. I've honestly been more of a fan of his scoring than I have his Nine Inch Nails.
I think he's better in that position now than trying to make, you know, the more mainstream goth, techno, industrial shit.
Yeah. How different do you think people would view Manson if he died after Hollywood? I don't really know. I mean, that does tend to kind of like cement legacies, so who fucking knows?
Yeah, I don't know either.
There's really I can't speculate. Maynard versus Mike Patton might be an interesting DFF. Who the fuck is Mike Patton?
Mike Patton. Isn't he the, fuck. Isn't he the lead singer of that band? Yeah.
Respect. Doesn't look like it.
Who is he? Who is
Faith
Mike?
No More?
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right.
I don't know. I don't know about that. Rob Zombie is 4 years older than Manson, and his live energy is still insane. Well, good for Rob Zombie, I guess. No, I mean, like, I don't know that Rob Zombie has done.
Well, he has the benefit of already being dead.
Yeah.
He's already a zombie.
Yeah, and not only that, you know, I don't know if he's done the copious amount of drugs. I could be wrong about that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Are you excited about new Curb Your Enthusiasm next month? I know that everyone loves that show, but I've never watched it, and I don't really think it would appeal to me. I never liked that kind of comedy.
I've seen some of it.
I don't know.
I've seen some of it, and I liked it. There's some funny episodes of it, but I'm not a huge fan of Curb.
I don't really watch a lot of comedy, honestly. Trent Reznor is better than Marilyn Manson. Okay, that's fine. You're banned. No, not
ban him out.
You're not banned.
Oh, okay.
I would under some. If I was in a certain mood, you might have got banned, but
yeah.
I don't care.
I don't think anybody's gotten banned tonight. It doesn't feel like a true HIGHDEOLOGY if at least one person isn't excluded for something dumb they've said.
Rob sucks live too, honestly. He gets short of breath super fast. Dude, whatever, man. They're there doing a fucking rock show for you at the fucking, you know. I mean, like, that ain't easy at a fucking, when you're 50-something, 60-something years old.
Yeah. Oh, Ghoul Drool. That's an insta ban on normal HIGHDEOLOGYs right there.
What'd they do?
He said boring show. Look at him.
Boring show. But is he talking about our show, or is he talking about the shows we're talking about?
Oh, I think he's talking about our show.
Or is he talking about Curb Your Enthusiasm?
I don't know.
So there's like, he could be, you know, that could just be an imprecise comment.
Well, I chose to take it literally.
and you're just like, I don't like it. You're gone.
He'd be gone.
I can cap one of these people with no profile pics. Why is that important all of a sudden?
Oh, that's a big rule in HIGHDEOLOGY too.
Oh, okay.
Because I noticed a parrot. Usually, when somebody said something profoundly stupid,
they didn't have a profile.
They didn't have a profile pic because it was just, you know, because I'd banned them a million times before. So it's a good way for me to get rid of people that have just created new accounts so they can come in and say the same stupid drivel over and over
Ghoul
again.
Drool was talking about Curb Your Enthusiasm.
No, he wasn't.
He's saying it was boring.
He's walking it back like Chank now.
Damn Chank.
But I remove my endorsement of Ghoul Drool.
Yeah, well, you never endorsed him. You were against him from the start.
I was the biggest Ghoul Drool fan in the world before this fucking stupid comment that he made.
Yeah, man. So we're gonna listen to Noam Chomsky in a second, and I'm gonna tell you guys that it's really hard to hear him. And that's because he is the most soft-spoken man to ever exist. Even in his youth, he was soft-spoken, but as he's gotten older, it's barely above a whisper at this point. So I don't know. I'm gonna try to crank it up for you guys as much as I can. I'm going to see how it registers. Hopefully I'll be able to fucking discern this.
We can try it, and if it's too quiet, we'll just move on.
But let's go ahead and take a look. So this is Noam Chomsky on Bernie Sanders' chances of success. And I think Paul is going to agree with a lot of what Chomsky has to say here, but maybe we'll see.
See if I can hear it.
So now I want to turn to U.S. politics. You have expressed sentiments of support for Bernie Sanders. What are some ways that perhaps his outlook might fall short? I know you've described him as a New Deal Democrat. What are some ways that he can change to fit more, to express more the needs of the American people?
Well, I think it's first of all kind of academic. The chances that Sanders will win the nomination, I think, are not great. The main reason is there's a tremendous attack on him. Just take a look at how he's treated in the media. There's actually, it's pretty obvious just from reading, but there's a good study about it by In These Times. They published a detailed study, factual study of how the media have been handling Sanders. So I think all stops will be pulled to make sure that he doesn't get the nomination. If he gets the nomination, the attacks will be wild. We'll get the whole Republican propaganda machine going after this Jewish atheist, wants to kill all the whites, and on and on. The chances he could be elected are pretty small. But if he does get elected, miracle.
So the first point is the media establishment despises Sanders.
I don't know who would argue against that.
Clearly is true. You're not going to see a flattering fucking Sanders story barely anywhere.
You can hardly find a flattering picture of Bernie Sanders.
A lot of times they pretty much are there was a PBS election summary kind of thing they did was done a fucking few weeks back. Even though Bernie Sanders is number 2 in the polls, he was like excluded entirely from the PBS sort of candidate. Here's the candidates.
Right.
They just acted like he flat out didn't exist. That's PBS.
CNN.
He's been repeatedly omitted from headlines in a very artificial way.
I mean, CNN was like photoshopping pictures of him to make him look like an old zombie with liver spots all over him.
CNN gave him weird birthmarks on his skin that he doesn't have. They fucked with his saturation to make him look
paler,
scarlet red.
Yeah,
they made him look fucking scarlet red. They've constantly chosen super unflattering pictures whenever they could. And, this is the entirety of the media. This is from MSNBC to Fox News to, CNN to, a lot of these major publications like the Washington Post and so on and so forth. I mean, there's just been crazy bias. And as Noam Chomsky points out, he's got no friend in the media, but he's also got no friend if he does get the nomination. Obviously, the what he calls the Republican propaganda machine or something along those lines is going to kick into fucking high gear, and they're going to have a field day with, they're going to have ads on the TV showing people starving in Venezuela and the Soviet Union and shit.
It'll be crazy over the top shit.
You're going to see fucking Joseph Stalin's face superimposed over the screen and some Nostrovia kind of fucking music playing and shit, and there's Bernie's photoshopped to be wearing a fucking, czar outfit and shit.
Goose stepping. Oh yeah, it'll be everything that we just talked about, and probably things we're not even thinking
And
about.
the mainstream press is if they even mount a defense of him at all, are going to mount a super lukewarm defense.
Of course.
Either that or they're just going to outright side with the Republican hate machine and be like, no, it's actually right, because they'd rather have Trump than Sanders.
Yep.
Because he's actually a threat to their status quo, whereas Trump, if anything, is just like the cash cow for them. So there's that hurdle for Bernie Sanders to get over.
And that's just
one.
one.
That's one. That's one.
He won't have Congress. How are you going to win Congress? The Congress is, the U.S. electoral system is structurally constructed so that the reactionary elements have an overwhelming advantage. Like in the last election, I think the Democrats won Congress, Senate by about 12 million votes, but they lost the Senate. That happens all the time. There's a structural effect that maximizes the effect of the rural, white, conservative, where's our America, traditional vote. Democratic votes tend to be concentrated in the cities, which most of them are lost, plus the gerrymandering and the voter suppression and everything else. So there has to be an enormous Democratic victory for them to win Congress, which is unlikely. Furthermore, even if you win.
So the second point is that even if Bernie Sanders does get in,
the process itself is stacked against him.
It's insanely unlikely that he's going to have a Congress that's friendly to his agenda, because the deck is so stacked that there has to be like insane, unprecedented turnout to vote for the Democrats in order for that to happen.
Right.
Because the deck is so stacked to the point where they can get 12 million more votes and it's not enough to swing the meter.
I know how Bernie wins this thing. Well, I can see the path. He's got to get some trained birds, though.
Trained birds.
Yep, he's got to have
every day, every rally, another bird lands.
A little blue bird lands on his finger and whistles a happy tune, and then he lets it fly away. If he does that, he wins, but he's not going to do it.
People are like, he is the chosen of God.
Yep.
Congress, most of the people elected among the Democrats are basically what they call blue dog Democrats, moderate Republicans. They're not going to support Sanders' plans. On top of all of that, the fact is that U.S. politics are dominated by wealth. We see that all the time. The wealthy basically control the legislation. So the barriers against carrying out progressive legislation are quite high. So it could happen, but it would require an enormous popular mobilization.
All of the things that he's mentioned come into play before he's even elected, too. I mean, the fact that moneyed interests are already stacked against him and they control the narrative and they own the politicians that are supposed to be going. I mean, the uphill battle is insane.
Let me just get him to the end of his clip. There's only a few seconds left here.
In the 1930s that enabled the New Deal measures to be carried.
So, okay, so there we go. So continue with your point, Paul.
I mean, that was it. I mean, it's just the deck is stacked. He doesn't have a friend politically.
Right.
He doesn't have a friend in the moneyed interests.
He's got no friends in the media. He's got no friends in the power broker class.
If he is by happenstance elected, the gerrymandering and blue dog Democrat syndrome, where you have these
he's going to be blocked. All of his plans are going to be blocked from the left and the right.
Right. So the chances of not only Sanders getting elected, but a successful progressive Sanders presidency are pretty fucking slim to none under the current system.
He pretty much has, the things that he would have to overcome are fucking insane.
I mean, his own, the party that he's running on hates him.
Right. So
he has...
The media, let's just go through the list of enemies here. Pretty much all of corporate America.
Right.
The entire media establishment, both fucking left and right side of it. The fucking all the billionaire class and everybody. I don't know if I already listed them. The news media, the fucking Congress. I mean, the politicians are against him. The fucking moneyed interests are against him. The news media is against him. So, I mean, like, the gerrymandered system is against him.
Yep.
There's there's so much that Bernie Sanders has to overcome to even come close to achieving even a fraction of his fucking agenda. And, that's why it's all the more frustrating when I see him being a pussy about shit. Because it's like, you have to be so hard and so inflexible and so motivated and so fuck you, I'm doing this.
I mean, it's a total capitulation for him to be running as a Democrat, period. Like, I've always been of the mind that Bernie Sanders ought to be running as a third-party spoiler. And it was really that type of fucking talk that probably caused him to choose to ally himself with a party that literally hates him. And I think that was a mistake for his political movement, because he's an outsider in the Democratic Party as well, and he's trying to run for, under the banner of a party that isn't going to throw anywhere near the amount of support they're going to throw a more mainstream candidate. So, yeah, I mean,
there's a whole other fucking set of hurdles to jump over if you're going to try to be a third party.
Well, of course, yeah. I mean, it certainly wouldn't remove a fucking hurdle from him, but
yeah, I mean, it's crazy just how stacked against him the fucking system is at this point. I think that probably is the natural closure point.
Sounds good to me.
For this episode.
We'll stow away that unboxing of the sex doll.
Yeah, I have a couple videos that I might do on my own, or I might just pull them for one of our DFF shows when everybody's here. But I guess we could have a little parting brief chat with the chat here, see what they thought of the show, see if they have any lingering questions.
Yep.
Noam Chomsky achievement in Left 4 Dead 2. I don't know what that is. All the normal Republicans will act like they are against him, even though deep down they want what he is offering. And yes, he should say he will run as a third party if he doesn't win. That's what I'm saying. Like, it should be like this shit right now, where his official stance is that he's going to support the nominee if it's not him. That needs to go the fuck away. Like, I don't want that. Like, I mean, like, I love a lot of his policy shit, and I think it's the right direction for the country, but man, I wish he had some balls.
Yeah, I mean, I wish he would have had some balls back in
2016. But, like, I wish that the lesson he learned from 2016 is don't back down. Don't back down for shit.
Nope.
What about the big tiggle bitties on the thumbnail? Oh, well, that was for the sex doll unpackaging, but we're not doing that, so.
Didn't get there.
We just didn't get to it, so maybe it'll be in a future thing.
You're going to be live streaming the debate on the 19th. We haven't discussed it yet.
There's a possibility. We're going to have to figure that out amongst ourselves.
If they add any more people, though, it's at 7 now. If it gets anywhere near 9 or 10 people, I mean, I'm going to be pulling.
It's already too much, but yeah. I mean, I don't know. We might see about it. I'm still kind of reticent because there's still a lot of the same people we've already heard from a million times. We'll do a few more questions, and then it's time to go. What would him not conceding have accomplished in 2016? It could have been the birth of a new political party in America.
A new political movement by the millions of disaffected people that hate both of these fucking parties and their stupid entrenched corporatism. Yeah.
That's what he could have accomplished, maybe.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that he would have won, but he would at least attempted to set a new precedent.
End the show. You know what, Bloodhaze? You the boss, man. You the boss.
We doing it.